Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and is amended as of March 28, 2025. This meeting will be conducted in person and, as a courtesy, by a remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, formerly known as pac-tv. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access channels, Verizon 39 or Comcast 9. Viewers can visit thelocalscene.media/Duxbury for information about Duxbury programming, including streaming and watching replays on Duxbury YouTube. I am calling the Monday, August 17th, 2026 Select Board to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good night. Let me get settled. First item on the agenda, as always, is open forum. Anything from the board members? Brian?
A couple of things. I was pleased to represent the Select Board last week at the Center's final Friends Through Time program. Friends Through Time is a program where older adults from all walks of life and students from Duxbury High School gather to chat, laugh, and learn from each other. It was started by Liam Quinn and Jackson Seeger. While Liam and Jackson have now graduated from Duxbury High School, congratulations to both of them. Liam will be heading to the U.S. Army and Jackson is headed to UMass. The program will continue with new DHS students stepping forward to participate. Deputy Fire Chief Brian Monahan and I were happy to meet with the group and talk about current Duxbury events. And then secondly, a number of young men and women from Duxbury are serving on active duty in the U.S. military in locations all over the world. The Duxbury Military Moms and the Duxbury American Legion are preparing care packages to send to Duxbury soldiers, sailors, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, airmen, and guardians. Residents are invited, starting today through Friday the 28th, to donate items for the care packages, such as food, personal care items, books, games, and more. Monetary donations are also being accepted to purchase those items, as well as to cover postage. And I do have a poster that I will leave in the back if anybody would like to take a photo. It's running again, starting today, all the way through August 28th. Donations can be dropped at the Legion Post between 3 and 8 p.m., and that's at 5 West Street in Duxbury, and for those of us who know, it's at the traffic light in Duxbury. That's all I got. Thank you. And I'll leave this down
Brian,
back.
can I ask you a question about that? So
Yep.
is there a number of serving military, so that if you were going to donate a particular item, you'd know that you need to donate 30 tubes of toothpaste or whatever?
There's not a number, but there's a rather lengthy list of individual items. So there's food items, personal care items, one called For Fun,
But you
which
don't know
has
how
books,
many.
magazines, that sort of
Okay.
thing. As many as we can send,
All
I think
right.
would be the goal. So,
Great, thank you. Cindy is joining us virtually. Hi, Cindy, we miss you. Do you have anything under open forum?
Just a request, actually. I see that Mary Lambert's probably there in the audience.
She is.
If she can get moved up on the agenda, maybe before or after the school meeting, I'm assuming, the conversations on the bridge usually go on, and I'm running that call.
Okay. All right, we've got a couple of public hearings, and then maybe we can, as a board, talk about if that makes sense to do that. Thank you, Cindy. Anything else?
No, it's nice to be here.
Glad to see you.
Nice to see you.
Fernando, anything under open forum?
No, I have nothing. Thank you.
Mike?
No, thank you.
Anyone in the general public under open forum? Yes, sir.
All right, Peter Randall, 501 Elm Street. You guys must be getting used to it by now. Can you hear me?
Can now,
The
yep.
microphone's for folks at home.
Huh?
That's just for folks at home.
So you just
Oh,
got to get your voice up.
Okay. So first of all, Amy, you asked for help in looking up things for the bridge, and I'd like to volunteer help. I would need the logistic report from Mass DOT and the blueprints, because in their original notes, they had planned on widening Powder Point Bridge, and it was hidden very well in there. And so I was paid a lot of money to look at this kind of stuff and dig in. You can't just skim. It wasn't in any other sections that were even close to being about that. Okay? So I just wanted to offer that.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. I'm not sure I recall asking for assistance in.
I thought the last meeting you said that if anybody wants to help with
okay.
this, but I'm offering help.
All right.
Okay, just so you understand, logistic reports, they hide everything.
Okay.
The other thing I want to note is in the last Mass DOT meeting, they showed you slides on everything but where they were going to eminent domain. In the 3 minutes I got to look at the prints only showed the pilings plus 55 feet, which means down past 55 feet in the prints. And I only had about a minute and a half to look at them before the meeting started. So,
Thank you for your comments. We are going to have a discussion regarding the bridge later in this evening. And anyone else under open forum this evening?
Dick
Mr.
Brennan,
Brennan.
100 Myrtle Street. Last week or the week before, there was a request by a local builder to be put on the agenda. I'd like to address that. My family has been dealing with the developer, John Baldwin, for about the last 10 years. He's not what I consider a good neighbor. Over 40 years, he's threatened me with 40B development.
Yeah, I actually think there's a good point there. If you've got a point you'd like to make, that's fine, but I'd like you to
Sorry.
not disparage
Sorry,
any
you're
member
right.
of the public whatsoever.
As it stands now, he's looking, let me get to the point. He's looking for, to do something, he put a driveway in, he's looking to have a town road put on it. What I want to do is I want to endorse his request to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
I've been dealing with this for a long time, and I want this ordeal to be over.
So noted, Mr. Brennan. This is being kind of dealt with by town council and Mr. Baldwin's council, so things are happening just behind the scenes, so it's not that anyone is being ignored.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else under open forum this evening? Okay. Oh, who is it?
Breling.
Bree, did you have something under open forum?
Just some things super quick.
Sure.
I just wanted to acknowledge Jonathan Mark's a big, person in town, and I saw that he had a pretty big incident this last week. I just wanted to send, the hopes and thoughts out to the town, and just a reminder to keep an eye out for him and wish him well, because he just, over in Pembroke, there was an incident, so, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Was that it, Bree?
That's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Anyone else under open forum? Can you go to the podium, please?
I would like you to put us on the agenda, because we need to have it out, what's happened here. And for the last time, John Baldwin's name's been smeared, I've had it with you people. And you put him in this situation, and you should be embarrassed and ashamed of yourself. And people wonder why we end up with 40Bs in this town. That's the reason why. So let's do it. Let's have it. And we're going to put it all out there and everything that's happened, and we'll see who's on the right side of this. This guy has been unbelievable. He works in the highway department. He's blocked the road. I can go on and on all the things that happen here. And for you to allow him to get up and say that about John Baldwin, let's have it.
Susan,
same rules.
wait a minute, same rules, and honestly, under open forum, the residents of the town are given a lot of leeway. We've had a lot of counseling from our town council on this, and so when a member of the public, a resident, wants to get up and speak, just as you do, and I have in the past, we allow it.
Please put it on the agenda. We're going to have it out.
Understood.
Okay? We weren't going to do that.
We're not going to have anything
gonna
out.
have-
We
we were gonna
can
have
certainly consider putting it
right?
on the
There was an
agenda.
agreement today
But now this,
Okay.
let's have it.
That's
okay?
enough. Okay, next item of business is a public hearing regarding a liquor license alteration of premises and change of hours for the art complex.
Do you want
Do we
me
have to
to
open the public
Oh, wait,
meeting?
wait, I think that you wanted,
Oh, I'm sorry.
she said she wanted to stand up.
I know, I forgot, I got way
Yeah.
late.
Technical, getting our other school committee member
Oh,
out of listening mode instead of.
Oh,
okay.
well, we got a hearing to do
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
we've got a couple of things before we're
Do you want
jumping
me to
into
be
that,
clerk,
so
or
that
who's
would.
clerk? Would that help? Okay.
Was that it for open forum?
I think that's the end of
Anybody else?
open.
Yeah, that's it.
I move that the Select Board open the public hearing regarding an alteration of premises liquor license amendment from the Art Complex, Inc. Roll call vote.
Cindy,
I'll second it.
thank you. Cindy, I'll start with you.
Cindy, I.
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, I.
Michael, aye.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak to this? Oh,
I'll give the quick
Welcome.
intro, if I may,
oh,
Madam Chair.
sure.
Oh, wow.
So the Art Complex Incorporated was approved for an annual on-premises liquor license this past May. They're now applying for an amendment to their existing license to expand the licensed premises from the main museum building to the entirety of the 13-acre property at 189 Alden Street. They're also applying to extend the licensed alcohol service hours from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. And then you have attached all of the ancillary information that accompanies that.
Okay, I think we all received this and saw it in
Yeah.
our packet.
Perfect.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? I'm
Would you
so happy.
introduce yourself?
I'm Audra Fergal, and I'm the manager of the liquor license at the Art Complex Inc. And I'd just like to thank you guys so much for your support in our endeavors in trying to get a wider community into the Art Complex Museum and into our town of Duxbury. And I wanted to amend the premises because of the amount of outdoor activities we've been trying to do. We have an entire outdoor sculpture garden that is available for anyone to view at any time, and we are planning our Duxbury Oyster Festival, Oysters and Art Festival, for September 26th. And because of that, we would like to amend the premises to include our greater grounds. And as of right now, we have probably about 2 acres that are what we would premise off for people to use, and the rest are wetland protected areas. And so we are hoping to be able to have these outdoor alcohol services for larger events that we plan to have.
And thank you, but you're requesting the extended
Property.
use of days and 7 days a week, 11 to 11, and it would include the entire 13-acre property, is my understanding. Is that correct?
Exactly, and that is not to be used every day. It's just to be able to give us the access to be able to do luncheons and, evening events and corporate dinners where, some people want to have it before we open, and have a luncheon where there's alcohol served. And other times we'll have corporate events where people will, come later after we're closed. And so our general premise hours don't really apply to those events. And under the circumstances of them being private events, that's okay. But in like festivals, or if we did want to have an event that was outside of our normal business hours, then I feel like this would give us the availability to do that.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
I
Brian?
just have a couple. I think I understand the nature of the request. Maybe you, and I see you have Mr. Mello with you. Welcome, Peter. If either one or both of you can give the board a little bit of a flavor of the town, some flavor as to how the license that we've previously provided has helped facilitate activities and engagement with the art complex, and how this would enhance that further.
We are just so pleased with how the past year has gone for us. We have never before had more than 10,000 visitors in a year, and this is the year that we're going to break that. And so for a museum that's been around for over 50 years and is like an institution in the town, We have had most of our numbers coming from these Thursday night events that we've been doing. And previously, before we got our official on-premise liquor license, we were doing 1 days, which were wonderfully effective for us. And because of the success we had, we brought in almost like half of our numbers from these Thursday nights and other events where we're seeing new faces or people that say, I drive by here every day for the past 20 years and I never came in and this is what did it for me. And so like those events and having such success with the 1 days, it made us want to continue to, expand into the winter and be able to do it every week and be a community hub for arts and music and, working with the South Shore Conservatory and really trying to get our community involved in this and seeing younger faces and families. Like, it's something that we've really wanted to work towards, and that this has been one of the driving forces of seeing new faces and new people, and it's been really special.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Fernando?
It's more of a question for Renee.
Sir.
So basically, a liquor license to 11 p.m., right? Does that, if there's an event, I'm not sure what exact events, but if there's an event that has music or something, right, to 11 o'clock at night, would the Art Complex Museum still require an event permit? Okay,
Yeah.
so we'd be able at that point in time discuss.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They need, this is just for the liquor license.
Just for the liquor license. So that's my concern about the neighbors, right? If we're having outside events throughout the property and going on 11 o'clock at night, I don't know if there's going to be music or what exactly that. It's not clear as to what you guys are planning, weddings. I don't know. But I certainly, out of respect for the neighbors, we would have an event permit then.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's a great point that you bring up, and I think that we definitely consider that in our abutters and our neighbors, and
Right.
we definitely want to respect them, and we know we have kids as neighbors, and we would definitely make sure to respect any noise laws or, if there was a time that we have to shut everything
That's
down
right. And
by.
that's, so the liquor license does not. Okay, so it's very clear. Thank you for answering that.
You're welcome.
And I too support the Art Complex Museum. My wife was once a volunteer there, and anyway. But
Thank you for that.
but I'm glad that I feel a bit more comfortable now with this liquor license and the time.
Mike, any questions?
No.
Cindy, did you have anything?
Just quickly, were notices sent out to the abutters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was there any response from them?
No.
So we don't know yet if anybody may be here to speak.
So I got.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
that being said, is there anyone who wishes to give their input on this application?
It is a public hearing.
Any further deliberation?
For me.
I'd like to know who's inside the square, inside on the statue at the corner. I love this. Okay. Mystery solved, thank you.
I move that the Select Board, as a local licensing authority, approves the alteration of license premised application for the Art Complex, Inc., Audra Fulgal, manager, license number 09646-GP-0300, located at 189 Alden Street, as presented and subject to all requirements of the Board of Health, Municipal Services, and the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. Roll call vote.
Second.
Any further discussion? Start with you, Brian.
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Cindy?
Yeah.
Unanimous. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
Good luck.
Good luck.
I move that the Select Board close the public hearing. Roll call
Second.
vote.
Discussion? All those in favor? Brian?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Cindy?
And,
Thank you. We need to open the next public hearing. This one is for a Class 1 auto dealer's
Not
license.
yet.
Not
Not
yet. There's one more.
You've got a new business item, which is a discussion and vote regarding a charity wine pouring license application for the Art Complex.
Yes.
Okay.
This kind of dovetails neatly into Fernando's question.
Okay,
Okay.
Actually, can I give you the explanation?
yep, please do.
So the Art Complex Incorporated has applied for a charity wine pouring license for a one-day event on September 26, 2026. This is a special permit issued by the ABCC, which allows a registered nonprofit charitable corporation to sell, auction, or consume donated wine at a special fundraising event. The application must be approved by the local licensing authority, the Select Board, before it is sent to the ABCC. And you'll see the required documentation and the notice to abutters has all been included in the application you have in front of you.
Okay, questions on this application?
Nope.
Nothing? Cindy, any questions on this wine pouring event?
Hopefully down people's throats, right?
Okay. Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing nothing, I'll take a motion.
I move that Select Board, acting as a local licensing authority, approves application for a charity wine pouring license for the event on September 26, 2026, to manager Audra Fugal for the Art Complex, Inc., DBA The Art Complex, located at 189 Olden Street, existing license 096-46-GP-0300, subject to requirements of the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission.
Second.
Further discussion? We'll start with you, Brian. All those
Brian,
in
aye.
favor?
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Cindy? Okay, now we're going to open the next public hearing. This is regarding a Class 1 auto dealer's license for Blue Water Bayside, formerly Bayside Marine.
Okay, I move that Select Board open the public hearing regarding the proposed application for a Class 1 new and used auto dealer's license for Blue Water Bayside Leasee, LLC, Bayside Marine, located at 433, 441, and 447 Washington Street. Roll call vote.
Second.
Brian, I'll start with you.
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Cindy? Okay.
Do you mind if I give you the intro?
Go ahead. You're on.
Thank you. So, the applicant had previously applied for a Class 2 auto dealer license, and a public hearing was held at the Select Board meeting on May 4th, 2026. During the hearing, it was determined that additional clarification was needed regarding the appropriate license type to meet the applicant's business needs. Upon further review, a Class 1 new and used auto dealer license was determined to be the appropriate license. In coordination with the Board of Health, the license has been updated to specify that it authorizes the purchase and sale of new and used boat trailers only. Included in your packets, you'll see the public hearing notice that was in the Clipper, the notice to the abutters, and the license application from the Board of Health. And that's the important distinction here. This is for trailers only, new and used, no vehicles. But a trailer is registered with the RMV. So that's why it's an auto dealer's license, but in this case, specifically conditioned for trailers only as well.
I seem to remember that's what the board requested,
Yes.
the amendment at the last meeting, so thank you very much.
Further questions on this? I don't remember this discussion. Maybe I wasn't here on May 4th.
There was several members of the public that had some concerns about it being open-ended about vehicles.
Cars.
They didn't want another auto dealer in Washington Street, that was the concern.
Yep. And I don't know if any are here tonight and still have any other questions, but.
So, you know, we do have some other properties in town that people, I've been getting some emails, excessive cars parked, and I know they're all under a special permit. Is there, and that can be detrimental if there's a lot of, you know, how many trailers are we talking? Is there a cap on how many new or used trailers can be parked there?
Not that I'm aware of, but JR is here, and he
There's
can,
no cap in the license.
Do you mind?
Yep.
and based on the nature of his operation, there aren't a lot there. They kind of come and go.
Jackson
But
S.
he'll tell
Kent Jr., 1351 Tremont Street and Bayside Marine. There's no cap on the license as far as how many trailers they can sell a year, if that's your
Is there a cap on
question.
how many can be parked there to store as they're getting, I mean.
It's
there's
legally a
big
motor vehicle, so there's 105 parking spaces there. I suppose you could take all 105 parking spaces and put a trailer there. I mean, it's a motor vehicle by Massachusetts law.
But which parking spots are you talking about?
Well, I think Amy asked how many trailers would be on the property.
I think,
You're kind of making my point that would, I think, I'm not sure that would be a great
visual for people to have 105.
I know there's a lot more money in not having trailers there than having trailers there. So there's no point to have any trailers there other than the ones that have actually sold. We probably sell 7 to 10 trailers a year.
Okay, so how many are there right now? Just
New trailers for sale? None.
how many used ones?
Used trailers for sale? None.
Oh,
They come and go as the boat transactions occur.
They're associated with the boat, right? People don't go there and, hey, I like your trailer, and buy your trailer. It's the boat that they buy, right? And it has to come on a trailer.
It is the boat.
Right.
So the reason that you want this license is on the used trailer side of it, there's a protection with a bond that protects the citizens. If we don't have the license, then we don't have the bond. So you want to issue the license. And I think by limiting the license to trailers, boat trailers, new and used only, you're protected.
Exactly.
I understand it. I'm not trying to belabor it. I'm just, as the license granting authority, just trying to figure out, what the residents could expect to see in the parking lot.
My interpretation is they won't see any change in what's been happening there for the last 60 years.
Madam Chair, can I just point out,
Yes,
on the
thank you.
application itself, there is a representation that they're looking for 2 bulk trailer spaces. It's paragraph 8 on page 2 of the
I don't recall that
application.
being on the application.
Okay, it says state number of cars, boat trailers you are requesting to be included in your license. And handwritten in there, it says 2 boat trailer spaces.
Okay.
I don't recall that.
Okay.
You might want to,
Yeah.
if that's an issue for you, you might rethink that,
It's probably not an issue.
because you don't have any.
Yeah.
And
I also-
as soon as they show up,
Yeah.
we charge them to a customer, and they're no longer a used boat trailer or a
There
new
we go.
boat trailer.
Madam Chair, this may help. Also, paragraph 7 about description of the premises to be used. The answer was, our marina staff will use the license to buy and sell new and used boat trailers. The business is completely the same since the change of ownership. We just need to update the entity on the license itself.
Any further questions from the
Is
board
that,
members?
JR, does that sound right? Okay.
Further questions from the board?
Nope.
Cindy, any questions?
No.
Questions from members of the public or comments? Take a motion.
I move that Select Board approve the application for a Class 1 new and used auto dealer's license from Blue Water Bayside Leasing LLC, Bayside Marine, located at 433, 441, and 447 Washington Street, for the purchase and sale of new and used boat trailers only, as presented. Roll call vote.
Second, Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Close the
Thank you.
public hearing.
I move that Select Board close the public hearing regarding the proposed application for Class 1 new and used auto dealer's license from Blue Water Bayside Leasing, Bayside Marine, located at 433, 441, and 447 Washington Street. Roll call vote.
Second, Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Next item on our agenda is a joint meeting with the school committee to interview, discuss, and vote on a candidate to fill a vacant school committee seat. The following candidates will be interviewed to serve on a vacant seat on the school committee. Jen, and I apologize if I pronounce the names incorrectly. Jenna Wexler,
Wexler.
what is it?
Wexler.
Wexler, Priscilla Nisai, or Nisi?
Nisi.
And Carol Ann Callie Smith. Assuming you're all here this evening. And Matt, the chair of the school committee, is here as well.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yep.
Yep.
All the school committee. I welcome everybody.
They need to call themselves to order.
Yep. Do you need to call yourself?
Yeah, that's okay. Just
Yep.
take a quick roll, I think, on is online. On.
Here.
Kathy? Laura?
Aye. Here. Yes.
And Matt here. Okay, so we do have a quorum, and I'm calling the August 17th school committee meeting to order. Thank you.
Thank you, welcome.
Can I give a little more info?
please
Thank
do.
you.
Well, you're into
So-
the context this evening. That's
Well,
good.
just
Yeah, well, look
just
at
for the
that.
folks at home. It's just-
I know, I'm just teasing.
Everybody here knows what's going on.
It's very, very helpful. Sorry.
So, The process for filling a school committee vacancy is outlined in the town's general bylaws, Chapter 3, Section 3.9, which refers to the state statutory process for filling a vacancy of this type. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 11, a vacancy on the school committee is filled until the next election through an appointment by the Board of Selectmen and the remainder of the members of the school committee. Interview questions to be asked by the chair of the school committee and the chair of the school select board will be distributed this evening, and they look like this. If you don't have one, I can certainly give
I
you
don't
one.
think that's part of the, sorry, can I?
Let me just finish. I'm going to have you come up here in just 1 second. Following the interviews, the members of the school committee and the select board should then deliberate on whom they believe would be the most suitable candidate to serve on the school committee in open session, and then bring forward the name of one candidate for consideration using the following motions below. And with that, I'm going to step down so that Matt can sit here, and then we can have the candidates move forward and sit here so you can interview them, okay? Come on up.
Hi.
Hello,
Welcome.
how are you?
Hey, Matt.
Nice to be up here with all the Johnny Carsons. We're higher than everybody. I don't think that, I could be mistaken, but I don't think Mass State law says the questions should just be limited to the chairs of each committee. So we haven't, the school committee has not had a chance to meet after we did our initial planning for this, so I would like to give the other school committee members opportunities to ask questions if they'd like to.
Sure.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Absolutely fine.
Okay, so one of the things I had asked Ashley, and thank you, Ashley, for indulging me, is that if we could try to have the candidates come to the front, just so we can all see each other, rather than have people come up and down at the podium. It's probably going to be awkward for everybody. And
We've got chairs and mics
Laurel
right here.
and Kathy, I don't know if you want to grab a couple seats up front here as well, if you want.
Who's who? We don't
Right.
have the benefit
There-
of
there's a-
times. Oh, it just says
Reserved.
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 Write our names on the back, would that be helpful?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That would
Thank
be,
you.
that would be helpful, especially since while you're writing, I sent each of you an email last week to remind you about this, and I introduced you as Dear A, B, and C. Did you remember that?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, I was writing the thing, and when I don't have the names off the top of my head, I say Dear A, B, and C, and I forgot to delete that. So hello, A, B, and C. All right. If it's okay with everybody else, I thought a good place to start would just be to me, a logical question is, why are you running for school committee? And I really appreciate all of your enthusiasm in putting your names forward. But would it be okay if we asked each of you to just make a quick opening statement about yourself and why you're running for school committee? Who would like to start, A, B, or C? Okay.
Thank you so much.
It's okay. It's
That's for
just
the people at home.
It's for
so
the people at home, so it
Oh,
won't
okay.
amplify your voice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you to the Select Board and the school committee for the opportunity to speak with you tonight about why I would be honored to serve on the school committee. The town of Duxbury and its schools have been an important part of my life for over 40 years. My husband and I bought our first home in Duxbury in 1983, and my involvement in the schools actually began in 1987, when I was a community member on Chandler School's first School Improvement Council. At the time, our firstborn child was not even old enough to attend school yet. Over the years, I've viewed our district through almost every perspective possible. As a community member, as a parent, as a Chandler School PTA president, as a Duxbury Middle School president, and most significantly, as a third grade teacher at Albany School for the past 25 years. Today, as a grandmother with 5 grandchildren growing up in Duxbury, my commitment continues. And I have yet another perspective on our schools. I want to ensure and help ensure that we pass on schools that are strong, thoughtful, and welcoming as can be. Over the years of experiences, I've seen firsthand what drives a school system to excellence. Excellent teachers, thoughtful and collaborative leadership, responsible decision-making, and a willingness in the community to come together over differing viewpoints. I believe I can contribute immediately because I know where the schools have been. I understand what makes them excellent, and I bring a genuine openness to collaborate with the other members of the school committee over what we need to do next and where we need to go next. I would be honored to bring my experience, perspective, and commitment to the school committee and continue serving the community that means so much to my family and me. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi.
Should have gone first, that was really good. No, thank you very much. I've been following the school committee for a long time. I have 3 children in the school system, a rising 8th grader, 7th grader, and 5th grader. And I've been contemplating, throwing my hat in the ring for a long time, but just was waiting for the right moment. I made a decision a few years back to go back to law school. Graduated in 2024, found a job, and now I'm feeling in a settled place and feeling like I'm in a place where I can really make the most positive contribution thus far. I started my career in higher education. I taught at Wheaton College for 10 years, and I also worked in academic advising at Wheaton. So I think that helps me bring a unique perspective because I have gotten to see what helps students succeed in college. I loved my role working one-on-one with students and helping them craft their path forward. So I think that could be useful in this committee as, of course, we're looking to send a lot of our students on to higher education. When I entered law school, I was very passionate about juvenile law, criminal law, and education law, and I took courses in all those areas. One of the things that I enjoyed the most in law school was I did an internship with the legal counsel for Cambridge Public Schools, which was completely eye-opening in a new way to see all the different legal issues that school districts deal with, and I think that that could be another useful perspective to bring to the school board. Now I'm working in juvenile court, which is bringing a third unique perspective, seeing some of the challenges, unfortunately, that students are dealing with in the area. I'm in the Plymouth court, so I see that firsthand. I see the challenges that families are facing. So I think that also drives me to be very proactive in the role of a school committee member and seeing these are the problems and how can we get ahead of them as a community. Finally, sorry, last thing, but I've been very passionate about public service. One of my favorite roles right now is being the service unit coordinator for the Duxbury Girl Scouts. So I head up all the different Girl Scout troops in town, and it's one of my biggest joys. So getting to know so many young women in town through that role, I think is also something that can help me as I do things.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm Callie Smith. For over 12 years, I was a middle school and high school Latin teacher. I taught a little Greek as well, taught some elective courses at mostly independent schools around here. I taught at Thayer Academy for 8 years, and I also taught at Rising Tide Public Charter School in Plymouth. I taught at a boarding school in Connecticut. I was at a boarding school down in Florida for a year. So I have a lot of experience at various schools. I was also an academic advisor for students. I served as a freshman dean at Thayer Academy as well. In a typical year, I coached 3 sports, including at the varsity level. So I was very, very involved in the day-to-day life of students. I was involved with administration and planning and ensuring the success of every student. So I believe I have a very strong professional background for this role. 4 years ago, I stepped away from the classroom to care for my 2 young children after my second son was born. My older son, Wally, just finished kindergarten at Chandler School. Wally has a complex medical need. He is a type 1 diabetic, so that has given me the opportunity to understand student supports at the schools and to work closely with the administration and different specialists at the school. Additionally, I come from a long line of educators. Probably a dozen of my cousins are Boston Public School teachers. I come from a very large Irish Catholic family. All the girls were told that they could be teachers or nurses. So anyway, here I am. So my 2 sisters are both teachers. One's a math teacher, and my older sister, is a special ed team chair in the Milton Public Schools. So she's been a great person to have, discussions with throughout the years about equity and access for all students. Which, that I feel like DEI can be a hot button topic, but, I had a lot of DEI training during my years at independent schools especially, and now my son Wally is able to attend the schools because he has equitable access through special education in the schools. I also, so since I stepped away from teaching, I've become very involved in the local community here. I'm the Vice President of Enrichment on the Chandler PTA board, planning enrichment activities for 1st and 2nd grade. I'm also on the Friends of the Library board. I've served on that board for the past 3 years, including this past year as its president, as a co-president. I am a board member on the Duxbury Adventure Club, which is sort of like Boy Scouts. But it's gender inclusive, and we do camping trips, we teach outdoor skills, we have sort of like wilderness survival days, we've done rock climbing and pool parties, so I'm the communications lead for that group, planning events and inspiring kids to build confidence through challenges, which seems very important to me given how glued to screens some kids can be in these days, and in the days of AI, how can we get kids to be outside and build confidence and build leadership? So I'm very proud to be a part of the Duxbury Adventure Club. I also started a pickup basketball night for women in town. We play on Thursday nights. It's through the rec department. It's free. So that's been a great community building event. I was also, I think most importantly, involved in the Duxbury Public Schools Strategic Planning Committee this past year, which was very enlightening and gave me the confidence to apply for this vacancy because I could see my value in planning for the district's future through my professional experience, my community involvement, and my personal role as a stakeholder with my children going to the public schools. So yeah, I believe that education should be student-centered, and also that as a teacher, I understand that the student's experience is much better when teachers are really supported. So I would look forward to the opportunity to work with administrations, faculty, staff, and students to keep the district going in a good direction. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did, Amy, did you or any other board member have any questions that you wanted to ask?
You all sound very impressive. So.
Can I ask a question? Can you increase the size of the school committee?
You got an 8-member board at this
Good,
point.
remember more. This is seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea right now
Well, luckily,
how we're going to select
I
the one
have-
person. It's an
Very
impossible task for us. Wow.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, please, Brian.
And Matt, if you'll allow me, I do have one question that's not on the script, but I want to hear from all 3 candidates, because this ties back to the town's comprehensive plan that I'm a big champion of. We did a word cloud back in 2017. Why do people live here? What's important to you in Duxbury? You care to guess what the biggest word in the cloud was? It was the schools, right? So that sentiment continues in town. It's also more than half the budget in our community. You know, we just did a Prop 2.5 override. The townspeople are very generous to us, but we like to be very careful with our money. So where I'm going with this is, if you're selected as a member of the school department, or of the school committee specifically, how would you balance maintaining an excellent school system but watching the checkbook? Because that's an area that keeps growing. There are valid reasons. We see it in other municipal departments as to why expenses keep growing. But given that you're over half the budget, I'd be curious as a member of the select board to know, how are you going to keep that in check but also maintain what the townspeople really want, which is excellent schools? Easy question, right?
Yeah, no.
I'm not an expert on the budget, but I do know that a big portion of the school budget is people, and that they have contracts. And so those are negotiated, and we just had a negotiated contract was just completed with the Unit A's. I think the Unit C's are coming up this year, so I think that the school committee oversees in a responsible way how they can parse out the money into the various pots. But some of it is a little bit predetermined because of the fact that you have to have human beings running the classrooms, at least for the time being anyway, until AI suddenly, I don't know what happens in the future. But I think that there are definitely ways where we can maximize what we are doing and be responsible fiscally. I think that the way we have the schools organized, for one thing, is very cost efficient, because we have all, for instance, all of the first grade teachers together working in the same building, sharing materials. We have all of the middle school teachers in the same building, sharing materials and collaborating with one another. I think that there are a lot of other opportunities that we can take advantage of that we're just starting to touch onto. I know that the school committee had just recently voted to start selling advertising space, I believe, around the fields, which is another way to get some additional money for our budget. I think the Duxbury Education Foundation is very generous. People in town are very supportive of different events that DEF runs and donate to that. So I think that all the work that was done into the budget this last time, and the previous year when the override did not pass, I think it was done with an eye to getting us through the future for a while and not having to go back and say, we need another override or anything like that, right? But I think that class size is very important in the younger grades, and I would definitely advocate for supporting the number of teachers and not cutting positions, that sort of thing. But I think there are definitely ways to be fiscally responsible, and I think that the administration works hard at that and does think about, what should be done to save money. I know that there's work being done right now on the Alden School renovation, trying to get the state to participate in that process. And so I think that the administration definitely thinks about all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try not to repeat too many things, but I think very much from following the override process, from override number 1 to number 2, I really appreciated how the school board committee really listened to the community, and what they came back with in the second override was vastly different from the first override. And that idea that priorities had to be set, the number did have to come down, and that kind of going into that mentality that we have to look to the community and see what the priorities are, and know that when there need to be cuts and what's feasible. So I think that was a great example of the kind of work that needs to happen going forward. Second, also pointing to the Alden study. I thought that that was really great how there was a committee, a volunteer committee of people in the community who were experts in the area that could lend their expertise before the decision was made. And that was just a great example of like doing that first step of research without it costing anything. And then of course what came out of that is, you know, putting forward the proposal to apply for the federal grant money, I think is something that definitely should continue going forward. When I was in academia, I had some experience grant writing, and that's something that I would like to work on in the future as well. And then the third thing, when I was doing mediation and negotiation in law school, we learned that when you look at something like a budget, people tend to think of it like as a pie, and it's set, and you're just thinking about how you're dividing the pie. But one thing I really liked was the analogy of like, how do you add value? How can you make the pie bigger first before you think about how you're splitting it? So I think like some great examples like fundraising through different means, selling the ads is a great idea, but also just thinking about the existing resources and how they might be shifted to add value. So we know that class sizes differ and teachers might have to move around. I know teachers move to being specialists and vice versa. And I think we have excellent teachers in our community administration, and that willingness to be flexible and do what's needed. In some ways, you can kind of grow the pie instead of just splitting it up.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe it's always a challenge to have a balanced budget, you know, accounting for buildings and facilities and teachers and professional development, et cetera. And I thought that the override over the last 2 years, the different overrides, were, personally, they were a great experience for me getting involved in the town and the override. You know, after the failure 2 years ago, obviously this year it was a much reduced ask. I think the number is 1.89 million for this year's compared to about 6 the previous year. And what I realized is that our community members didn't really understand what those numbers were for, what those meant. So in meeting with the Chandler PTA and hearing Drs. Klingeman and Wiesenhan talk about, and the Yes for Duxbury campaign, I'm thinking of Kip Doble, did an excellent job informing the public of what was at stake. I thought was really important. So as someone who's really involved in the community, making the public more aware on a person-to-person level, I think is really important in getting public support. I understand that there wasn't a failure in the budget, we're just keeping up with inflation, and there wasn't an override since 1989. So it's not like there's any waste in the budget, I think. I also believe that it's important to hold people accountable when we are supporting programs in the schools, to have a look back and see what worked, what didn't work, what do we want to continue to support, so that we are continuing to keep our schools as strong as possible. For example, Chandler School transitioned to the CKLA English program this year, and it seems to be going really well. I know Boston Public Schools are also using it. So to continue to evaluate those sort of programs to ensure that they're the most effective thing, while also understanding that we need to support our faculty. It's a challenging job. I do love the idea of fundraising in other avenues, and through my work with Friends of the Library and the Duxbury Adventure Club, I do know that there are many folks in town who are very, very generous in supporting the things that they believe in, including drama and athletics and education in general, robotics, things like that. So I think we can lean on our community without nickel and diming everyone, and moving the school forward in the district forward in a positive manner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Mike?
So I'll start with this. This is on the sheet. How would you describe a productive working relationship between the school committee and the administration? I'll kind of add this, and it dovetails from what Brian asked, because I think we can all agree we spend about at least 75% of the year working on budgets. How would you promote that or effectuate that productive working relationship, but also educate yourself on the budget, what's in it, and to be able to ask the tough questions and to make the tough decisions?
I think it's really important to have open communication and transparency so that people understand what all the numbers mean and stand for. And all of the different, I went to multiple budget meetings over the course of the last 2 years that Danielle and Fernando did, and making sure that you ask the questions and find out really what all the numbers mean and how it's all put together, I think is very important. And so not being afraid to ask the stupid question, and being able to make sure you understand everything, I think is important. And just having that open communication. I know from my experience being on the Duxbury faculty that the administration is usually very open and transparent about the budget and explaining things and coming to faculty meetings and being, willing to answer many questions in meetings and then separately, individually. So I think it's just having those open lines of communication is really important.
Thank you. Jenna?
Yes, I completely agree with all of that. I think that there is good transparency. I spent a couple years on the Chandler School Council, that's the right title, and going over the budgets, really seeing how things were divided up. I always go to the town meetings and see line by line where everything's going. So I think it's staying informed, it's listening. After listening carefully, it's asking the tough questions, and then after asking the questions, then it's time for sharing opinions. So that's the approach I would educate myself, listen, and then respond.
Okay.
I agree with both Priscilla and Jenna that transparency is important. Working with our administration, letting them do their job and holding them accountable at the same time, and really digging into those line by line numbers and not just rubber stamping things and moving them along, but asking questions and thinking thoughtfully about our budget. Thank you.
Why don't I ask, Cindy, did you have any questions that you'd like to ask at this time?
No, right now, thank you.
Okay.
Laurel or Kathy, did you want to step up and, I guess we have to use the mic. Did either of you have a question that you wanted to ask?
Okay, so you addressed some of my questions, and I really appreciate that there are 3 of you here tonight. That's wonderful, and I wish we could also make this a board of 7, because it's great, and thank you for your service. I really appreciate it. My question, I guess, for the 3 of you, you all have either grandchildren or children in the schools currently, so how would you balance advocating for your families versus advocating for the entire district?
Yeah,
That's my question.
that's a good question.
Good
I
question.
think as a classroom teacher, for the past 25 years, my biggest thrill and what really motivates me the most is seeing each one of my individual individual students work to reach their fullest potential. And that's what really gratified me. Come at the end of the year and look and see the growth that has happened. So I think that having so many, not birth children, but kind of classroom children that are now working their way through the school system, I definitely have an emotional connection to not just my own grandchildren. And having been a teacher in a co-teaching model, very often working with special education teachers and special education support people as well, providers, just seeing the growth in all of my students, no matter what their level of ability is. As someone who was a CPAC Shining Light honoree this past year, that just reinforced in me just the gratification that I personally get from seeing all students grow and reach their fullest potential.
Thank you so much. Well, I think first, as a mother of 3 children, besides being raised in the same home, I feel like there's nothing else my children have in common. So I think it's very much, it would be hard to even as a mom, like approach things like in one way, like what is best for your children when everyone's so different. This is maybe like a bit of a silly example, but I was thinking of it this morning, and I know one of the things that changed in the spring this year was instead of like having the middle school orchestra be a green orchestra and silver orchestra, so it was like different based on ability, and now they're going to do it 7th and 8th. So I was thinking to myself at first, I'm like, oh, this is a bummer, my daughter's not going to like this decision. But then I started thinking about like, you know, what goes behind this decision? You know, what are the benefits of having like silver versus green? What are the benefits in terms of kind of how people develop as orchestra players? What are the ramifications in terms of retention in orchestra? Are people dropping off of orchestra based on the two? So that's one perspective. And then of course, like what are the practical implications that might have went behind this decisions in terms of teachers and availability and space. So just a small example, but I think just thinking through like, while it might be natural to like your first perspective to be through the lens of your own child, like also I think we would all have the ability to step back and say, okay, what's the big picture, and then approach it from there.
Thank you.
Having been a teacher and a dean and an advisor and a coach long before I had children, I think one of my strengths as a human is being an advocate for all sorts of people. My husband has Crohn's, my son has type 1 diabetes, my sister has celiac. So thinking about, you know, if the kids at school are using manipulatives like Play-Doh, are they gluten-free? Can everyone access them? So of course, you know, coming at it from sort of like a DEI lens is one way I see the world. But really caring about the community as a whole and knowing kids outside of just my own children. I coached youth soccer in town and gotten to know a lot of kids around and the teachers too. So I think it's personally easy to not just advocate for your own child, but to see the community as a whole and to sort of like not lose the forest for the trees sort of thing.
Great. Thanks. Laurel, do I have time for one more and then your turn? You okay? Okay.
Can I ask that we reverse the order or mix it up a little bit? Because
I think
feel
that's a
like
good idea.
Priscilla's had to answer first every time.
I know. Sure. So this one is not about budget. It's more about our relationship as school committee members with the superintendent, who we have here tonight, and the assistant superintendent, and they're phenomenally supportive. I think we have a good working relationship, but it's really critical And another piece of what school committee does that's not as fun, but it's the basis of what we do is policy, implementation, and management. And those are the types of things that don't matter till they do and someone sees it and they're like, wait, there's a policy for this. Da, da, da. So I guess my question for you all is, what do you think is the appropriate relationship between the school committee and the superintendent? You can go first.
I'm happy to go first.
Sure.
I think it's collaborative in nature, first of all. And I think we want to recognize as the school committee the expertise of the people that we have decided should run the district. I think that's really important. At the same time, we need to hold administrators and people in our district whom we're technically hiring and in charge of in that way accountable, and sometimes that might involve difficult conversations. And I think there's a way to have difficult conversations with respect and humanity, and to have them before things are at a disastrous point. So open communication, transparency that we've talked about throughout this session, but as a collaborative, working collaboratively and also holding accountable by quantitative, and you could also use qualitative measures. Thank you.
Yes, I would second most of that. I think looking for definitely a collaborative relationship, listening to one another, asking tough questions, accountability. For the last 7 years, I've been a board member for the local Temple Sherrod Hayam, and the board members, we are such different personalities. We never have any money. We're always fighting about something. At the end of the day, not beyond that, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's listening, it's understanding where people are coming from, it's thinking about how you can make your point most effectively, and while always respecting one another.
I still can't.
Over the course of my
Outstanding.
time in Duxbury schools, I've worked on many district-wide committees, interview committees for superintendents, principals, assistant principals, teachers, and then mentored new staff. I think that on all of those various committees, I was on the district-wide committee that analyzed our literacy needs, K through 12, and then I was on the curriculum search committee where we were determining what curriculum to adopt for literacy. And then I was on the implementation committee for that and piloted the CPLA and mentored other teachers. Through all of that, all of the work on all the different committees and townwide committees that I've been on, sidewalk committee, sleep needs committee, I have approached it with an open, collaborative mindset and trying not to go in with biases and listen to other people's opinions and work together to solve problems.
Thank you. Guys?
Laura, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm not gonna walk over here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Feel free.
You stole my question. And just for the record, I think there might have been this piece of paper we're holding, you guys did not see this
No.
in advance, right?
We
So
did
just
not.
so we're clear, we're not pulling from like
And I didn't
pre-programmed
ask for those
questions.
of my own.
I noticed that. That is, the irony is the one that I had written down for my own is the one you just asked. So I guess, what does that say?
Minds think alike, collaborate.
Says it was a good question. It was, and it was answered well. I think some of these questions are great. So I have two, because I think it gets to some things that we haven't maybe touched on specifically. I think we've gone back to budget, which is critically important, we all know. And this one is a little bit more sort of, you've all been watching and paying attention, I think, from various perspectives maybe over the last couple of years. So I would be curious from your perspective, what is the most important issue, or one, I would say one, there are many probably. One of the most important issues that from your perspective, the school committee should be addressing in the coming months, if you were to sit on the committee, and what your thoughts would be on addressing whatever that issue might be.
Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with, Jenny gets to start this one.
Oh, goodness. This should have been something I prepared, that's for sure.
And it doesn't have to be specific, it could be general. I think you've heard the articulation of budget, policy.
Yes. Yes, I would be very interested to hear more what you guys have on the agenda in terms of policy moving forward, but I guess that's probably what we were going to be talking about as we start the new school
For
year.
sure, always, we're always talking about policy.
I guess one thing I would just say is that I'm a big nerd and I love policy in general. One thing I was thinking about when I was doing my work with the Cambridge Public Schools, I helped draft a new policy for service animals in the school. So I don't think that's like a top priority probably right now in Duxbury, but just interesting to see how different things like pop up and how they started to have a lot of issues where I want to bring my service lizard to school and just kind of crafting a policy in mind that's like thinking about, you know, what does it legally mean to have a service animal, what does it mean to have a therapeutic support animal, and just kind of how I think like creative issues will come to us and we will have to respond. So I think one thing I'm interested in is just kind of getting in there, hearing what parents are talking about and kind of going from there.
I think a major issue that all educators are dealing with is technology and AI, so policies on those sorts of things, and how can we help teachers in the classroom get their kids to think critically, to be able to write on their own, to have the confidence to even try. Most of my friends are educators, and as a former teacher myself, just giving the kids the space in the classroom to sit right there with a pencil and paper and develop that confidence and teach them those skills, I think is so important. So I think that's a big topic. You know, whether we use Yonder pouches or ban ChatGPT from campus, you know, there are a lot of different ways to go about it, but I think, you know, supporting the teachers and the students in developing those critical skills. You know, I got into Latin because I fell in love with the grammar of it as a 7th grader. So many of my other Latin teacher friends, Greek teacher friends, would say, oh, I loved Greek mythology as a kid. No, I was like, give me more indirect objects and perfect passive participles. I want to parse everything. So, you know, looking at those nitty-gritty policies and working to get something that works and moving forward on those. And also a really big one that I think is super important is on the facility side, obviously the Alden feasibility study, and thinking about that aging building and what the process is over the next 2 years for that, or the next 5 to 7 years, with getting town support for whatever needs to be done for the future health of our district.
I definitely think that technology is a big issue, and all the different components of it. AI, I think, is going to have more and more of an impact on education, and I think that I know from having just retired from Alden School that there are some teachers that are getting more skilled with the use of AI, just in terms of their lesson planning or developing resources. One of the things that was cut from our budget was a program called Accelerated Reader, which was a repository of quizzes that students could take online for any book that they finished reading. And it was a way of holding children accountable for, did you really read that book? And, you know, are you sure that you understood this book? You know, because how did you do on the AR quiz? You know, and it was a way of kind of having those one-on-one conversations with children, but that was eliminated from the budget in a cost-saving move. And so there are teachers that are using AI to develop quick on the fly, what was the book you read? And, you know, have AI make a quick multiple choice quiz for that book. And so I know that AI is something that is not broadly used in a very proficient way necessarily by all of the faculty. So I think professional development in that area is something that would be an important thing to start thinking about and looking into. I know that as a literacy teacher for the last several years, I focused strictly on reading and literacy the last couple of years. And that's why I'm so passionate about the CPLA curriculum, because it definitely has a lot of writing in it. And so I think it's going to be very interesting to see the change in students as they come up that have started with CPLA in kindergarten and how it's going to progress by the time they get, say, to Alden School. I think there's going to be a big change. I know that I would have students from the middle school towards the end of the year come to my classroom to share the books that they had written, either themselves or with partners, and read those published stories to my students. And the different questions that my students were asking them about the writing process this year were very different. And you know, the English teachers who had come over were kind of really fascinated to look around the room and see the things that the third graders were doing, where they were learning about ancient Rome and getting that background knowledge, which is such a big part of the curriculum. So I think that, you know, just continuing to look at curriculum. I think math is up next and social studies. Continuing to look at curriculum, continuing to think about how is technology affecting students? How much screen time are they having? How are we doing the assessments? How many assessments are we doing during the year? These are all issues I think that are important to parents and for children.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great. Thanks.
On, did you have any questions? On Holland?
I don't have the sheet either with your list, so I don't know.
Oh, no, you can ask whatever you'd like. That was just a courtesy, I think, that folks in the administration put together, but you can ask whatever question you'd like if you have one.
I had two that were already asked, but I have to use more.
So that's a no? Okay. Yeah, most of my questions were asked as well. And first of all, I just want to let you know I have resume envy after reading all of your resumes. I feel, yeah, I didn't suffer from self-loathing before. I appreciate your enthusiasm and your desire to get on the committee. I'm looking at this through the lens of the timeline, because it's really a 7-month position, which is interesting. And I was wondering if any of you had a chance to think about how you would prepare to get up and running in a more constricted timeline than a usual 3-year term. It'll be over in a blink of an eye.
That any of us could run for the real position.
That's true.
That's true, yeah.
So, we could-
But if you ran for the real position, it would be a 3-year term. So I guess the reason I asked the question is like when I ran, it was like, I looked at it through a lens of like, okay, it's a 3-year term. I'm gonna ease into it, and of course you can do that. There's no right or wrong answer. I just wondered if you had thought about, what you might do differently than you would if it were a 3-year term, because it's only 7 months.
I think that's a really good question. I think you can think of it as, I don't want to think of it as just like keeping the seat warm until the next election, but I think that it's clear that the 3 of us have experience to sort of hit the ground running, whereas in a normal sort of 3-year term, one might be more inclined to to sit back and listen and learn in the first year or first several years, and maybe run for a re-election and have more of an active voice. I still think it's really important to, as a new member of the board, to be a really dutiful listener, and also at the same time ask those questions and pay really close attention to agendas and any sort of paperwork that leads up to the next meeting, budgets or curriculum design, things like that. So just to be really prepared for each meeting and to be ready to ask the questions if other board members aren't bringing up any issues that are apparent.
Thank you. Yeah, I think kind of just whatever the timeline would be, I would think if it's 7 months, 3 years, I think it's the type of position where you have to come in and be ready to work, because even though we are going to learn from each other, whoever comes in is going to have an equal vote on the committee. So we have to come in prepared, come in confident with our experience that we bring from other areas of our life, and just be ready to hit the ground running. So I think, whether it's 7 months or hoping to continue on, I think we're in the same position where we just gotta be ready to go and ready to contribute.
Thank you.
I would approach it the way I would starting on any other committee that I've been on, which is just to work hard, ask questions, be prepared, read everything, and work together, work collaboratively, be open and genuine.
I ask a quick follow-up to that, which is that this is an appointment for the unexpired term, which will be up in March, and you'll need to run again. Are all three of you, are all three of you planning to run for that open seat?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
It's like asking somebody if they're going to run for president in 2020.
Well,
I'm focused on today. So, last question, I promise. So this was actually from a community member. I thought it was a very insightful question, so I wanted to ask it on her behalf. Do you have any ideas on how the school committee could work to engage the public on all of those times when we're not asking for something? So I think that it's a rightful question. I think that there's a perception that we try to engage the public as much as we can around budget time and when we're trying to make the case for investment in the schools and that sort of thing. And I wondered if you've given any thought to ways in which the school committee could involve the community and engage with the public other than those times when we're in sort of an hour of need.
Would you like to go first?
I think there have been times where, like for instance, on the opening day of all the faculty, before school begins, there's usually maybe one school committee member that goes to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think more visibility maybe of the school committee members. I know Danielle is very visible at different school events and things. That's another way I think that school committee members could be at sporting events or concerts or things like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that idea too of more involvement in the community, just paying attention to what events are going on, whether it be through athletics or through the Girl Scouts or the Cub Scouts, and if there's something big going on in town, like making a presence there, if we can do that. I also love the idea when having open office hours, so just kind of more informal settings where people could come and speak about what they're thinking about at the time, so it doesn't have to always be coming to a school committee meeting. And some people are shy and like to communicate in different ways, maybe thinking of ways that people can approach us that are a bit more like lighthearted and fun, whether it be in smaller groups or a kind of open house, let's have some cookies type setting. Like, And maybe we can get a liquor license. Just kidding about that one.
Approved.
I'm going to steal the some ideas from the Chandler School Adjustment Counselors. They do coffee chats, which are wonderful, to get some people in a room, some stakeholders in a room, and just chat about whatever is on their mind. I think it's important to consider which hours people can join us. Not everyone can come to an evening meeting or a school day meeting, work day meeting. So to offer different times for different folks. Also, I love the School Adjustment Counselors podcast that they do. So maybe, podcast with different community members, different stakeholders, just something maybe a little bit more lighthearted that would drive engagement with the community. It doesn't have to be so serious, but just, talk about, what they're learning about in CKLA and get into some of that in a lighthearted manner.
Great, awesome. Did any other questions occur to anybody on the school committee or on the select board that we've not asked?
It's been pretty thorough.
This is going to be a very difficult
Yes.
It'd be very difficult.
decision.
So I guess the next item is just for us to discuss amongst ourselves.
This is
as
the most
two committees.
uncomfortable
This is the
part
uncomfortable,
because-
and I would not
Amy
blame
does
you
a
if
good
you don't
job.
want to sit up here in the front while we do that. If you'd like to do
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Well,
talk
Matt,
about
before you go
you
into
is-
that,
yeah.
can we offer the opportunity for the candidates to ask us questions if they have any?
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm sorry. Yeah.
If you have any.
If you have any. You don't have to if you
I
don't
may-
have
You do,
it.
you
I
do
may
not
not
have to
answer.
have.
You do not have to have it.
And you may have.
The pay is
maybe-
terrible.
You may have questions for the school committee as opposed to the select board, so.
No, I think you should ask the select board.
Yeah.
And the liquor license is approved, you already, that's
right.
that's
Great
done,
point,
right?
yeah.
Slam
So,
dunk.
Slam dunk.
It's more of a comment than a question, but I think it takes a specific type of person who would run for an unpaid
Here we are.
to be an
we're all
unpaid
here.
public servant. So we appreciate the work that each one of you does, and I think each of us sees that
Well,
we're
you're-
that kind of person.
You're actually joining, I think it's very humbling, and it's
Yes.
been very honorable that you're willing to put
Yes.
yourselves out there like this. It's incredibly difficult. I was first appointed to a vacancy when 20-something years ago when I got on the planning board, and then as a same thing with I ran for an unexpired term for the select board. So it's very humbling, but win or lose, everyone always appreciates the fact that you've put yourself out there. So there's no losers here. I hope you'll all continue to, be interested and stay, engaged, because it's a wonderful thing you're doing. So thank you.
Yeah, nicely said, Amy, thank
Yep.
you.
Any other questions?
All right.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, now we talk about them behind their back in
Yeah,
front of their
right,
face.
exactly. It's 1,000,000 degrees up here. I don't know how you guys do it.
It's a lot.
There's an AC
No, that's all right.
It's just loud, then you have to yell.
It's probably me.
Yeah.
It's like steam.
So I'd like to just, well, that's okay.
Are you all, is everyone hot? I'm good.
I'm
No,
good.
fine. That's it.
Would anyone like to begin? Any comments
You
to
go
get
for
the
it, Matt.
discussion moving?
I'm happy to, unless the school committee wants to go first. No, we can't, first and foremost, as Amy said, we cannot make a wrong decision in this case. We're very fortunate to have 3 exemplary candidates for one role. In my mind, and I appreciate the answers all the candidates gave, I think they're all committed. I especially appreciate their enthusiasm, and may it be infectious, because that's what keeps everybody motivated. The one thing, I was trying to determine what distinguishes one from the other, and can we pick one that fits best in with what the committee currently needs. And the thing that struck me is with Priscilla and having over 2 decades of experience already in the system. I think, for me anyway, for somebody to be able to jump in especially with a seventh-month term, to be able to know where all the pieces are. I won't say where the skeletons are buried, but where all the pieces are, who does what. It seems to me there'd be very little ramp-up necessary other than being on the other side. Now, instead of being union, now you're management. I don't know how much of a lift that would be, but if I were to rank the candidates to say who can hit the ground running right away with the most experience in our district, that would be Priscilla. That's where I'm coming from, and it has nothing to do with education enthusiasm, that sort of thing. I think it's just strict experience local to Duxbury.
Could I say something as a matter of form? I don't sit on the school committee, and I try not to step on your toes too much. Does the school committee have a specific need or feel like any of these particular candidates fits that need?
It's good.
I mean, that was a key question. Thank you for asking that, Mike, because that was a key question that helped the planning board figure out who would best fit, right? They kind of had a gap. They needed an engineer, right? After all the questions.
They're a very technical board.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But the point was that they suddenly kind of, the light bulb went off and they realized the gap, and it made a very difficult decision quite easy. So that's a great question.
Yeah.
I think the unfortunate challenge here is that the three of them have something that, I shouldn't say this, but I don't think the current members have teaching experience, like actually in a school as a teacher. I think
Right.
all three of them have that
Yes.
at varying levels, which, so that doesn't actually help us at all. But I think it's something that I thought about as a common theme as they were speaking. The one thing, I couldn't agree with you more as far as experience. I think something that Priscilla did highlight in her letter that I just want to acknowledge, verbally, is that we've had this in the past, which is this challenge around complicating factors related to budget votes specific to teacher salaries and her own, family connections to staff. And so that is a concern to me in the sense that if recusal is needed, the budget vote is critically important, and we're a 5-person board. So what happens when you have, and I should know more about what that recusal looks like, but I think it depends again on where you sit and what the relationship is, which we could dig into. And again, there have been staff or people with connections, and I know on this board you've certainly had that challenge in the past as well. But I think it's something that we do need to acknowledge. And I love Priscilla. My children had her she's fantastic. So I don't think that should take away from all of her experience. But from the board perspective, it's something that I am thinking about and how we would navigate. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And as far as a plug and play position, just with the experience that Priscilla is bringing, having gone through being on the teacher side of things, I think that is, it's no matter what experience you're bringing to the table, it is a new, unique experience. You serve as a public official on the school committee, and so there is a ramp up for all three of these folks, I would argue. But maybe for the quickest ramp up, and it's not to say there won't be other openings, right, going forward, because we all roll on and roll off and may serve different terms. But man, I don't know. I liked, I think specifically Callie mentioned a few different times of qualitative and quantitative accountability, which what our school committee needs. I think we've kind of come to realize preparation is key for us to be as effective because we don't have enough time in the school year, let alone being more visible. I mean, that was great. I took a note for ourselves going forward. How do we participate more in the community outside of our professional lives, our personal lives, and then the school committee? But I do think the accountability piece is important, being collaborative, but also asking the tough questions if no one else is. So that stuck out to me. And then for Jenna, I think the mediation, arbitration, like you have to be a great communicator, but use your voice, but be able to move things forward, right? On the school board, because we have a lot of work that we're asked to do every year. So talking in circles, but they all spoke, those, I guess, pieces really, to me, were like the quickest impact that we would have from each of those members.
On, did you have any comments on Mike's question about filling a need?
I just had additional comments.
Sure.
Do you want me to say them?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I just thought that Callie and Jenna's community involvement have an impact, which is part of the strategic plan, is how to engage the community. And that was, I'm glad you asked that question, Matt, because that was something I had to think about as well.
Great. Yeah, Brian took the words right out of my mouth. I have been sort of fixated on the fact that, first of all, it's a very, very selfless enterprise to come in and get in front of everybody and interview for a position that is, legitimately only 7 months. And the fact that you're expressing interest in running for just a one-year term is further selflessness, because it's not an easy lift. So I really appreciate all three of your enthusiasm and your interest and your dedication. I really keep coming back to the fact that it's a very truncated term, and I don't think anyone's expecting anyone to come in and be an expert. But the way I've been trying to think about this is, who can come in and be a contributor as early as possible. And that's why in thinking about Priscilla's time in the district and having a real keen understanding of collective bargaining, sitting on school council, I think one or two of the other applicants have sat on school council as well, which is huge, PTA, PTO. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. Who can come in and make an impact quicker than we would normally expect of a member in a short time frame. That's how I'm looking at it.
So your concern, the concern that was articulated about recusing herself under certain votes is not a concern of yours?
Not for me personally, because one, I really appreciated the fact that she was very upfront about that in her application and in her cover letter. And speaking for myself, I have to recuse myself from certain votes on the school committee because of my my full-time position as well. It's not budget related, but it does impact decisions made around tools, technology, curriculum, and things like that. So not unlike on the select board, there are times I've watched meetings where you folks sometimes have to recuse yourselves on decisions. So I don't think it's that unusual. That's how I looked at that.
For me, I could not differentiate between the three candidates who are absolutely outstanding, except for two things, right? One, I think the very last question with regarding how to engaging with the community, different ways, and I think that's an issue that we're also struggling with. I thought Callie's answer was superb and spot on. The podcast kind of doing something, lining it up, doing it a little differently, but engaging people in a way that people engage today. My wife's always listening to podcasts, right? So I thought that was really cool. And somebody who likes to parse Latin, my goodness me, that's another differentiator for me. Oh my goodness! But all three candidates are absolutely outstanding. I do hope whoever's the two who are not selected, please do run. But for me, Callie got my vote for that. Again, it was so close, and just that little differentiation at the end for me.
Mike?
I agree, and I'm kind of blown away here too, and I'm glad you're not running against me right now. For this, but I'll make this specific point because I went to this school. I'd like to make a case for Dr. Wexler here. 2024, so that's 2 years ago. She graduated New England Law, Boston. She was #1 in the class.
Yeah.
Number of honors, 3.9 GPA. unless all of her kids are under the age of 2 right now. She did that as a working parent. And I think if you're looking for someone to, jump in on right away and do a nice job, I think they all would. But I think that's worth considering.
Yes.
Cindy, did you have anything?
Sure. I think I liked what Mike just said about Jenna. She brings and again, I have back up everybody. These are pretty amazing things, and this is incredibly difficult. But I think Jenna brings to the table a little bit of a different perspective. She has different experiences from the city of Cambridge, working from the court system to I don't have the CV right in front of me, to working in the colleges and that sort of thing. If my feet were held to the fire, I guess I would Jenna.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? We're ready for a vote?
I went first.
Oh, that's right, yeah, you did. Just checking.
Any other comments by anyone?
So we all vote?
Well, I
Yeah.
figured I think we're all
We're doing
voting.
right.
We've got to have a quorum of both of our committees together.
Right.
So I thought we'd do a poll vote, and unless anyone disagrees, we could just go around the horn and you could name the person that you'd like, and I've got a little grid here that I can't read because I don't have my glasses, but I can read it well enough. So if you want to say the name, I can grid it off, and then we can tally up the votes if that works for you folks. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Brian, you want to go first?
Yeah, with all respect to all candidates, and I sincerely appreciate you all being here. And Fernando's going to have a list at the end of today's meeting about vacancies in other committees. And please pay attention.
No, school committee,
I would
please.
very respectfully vote for Priscilla for the reasons stated.
Okay, thank you.
Again, echo Brian's sentiment, but for me is Callie Smith.
Callie Smith for Fernando, okay. Amy?
You got, they were all terrific, absolutely
Yes.
terrific. I'm going to pick Jenna.
Jenna, okay, good. This is like Survivor.
Yeah.
Get the torch ready, Mike.
Jenna?
Jenna, okay, good. Cindy?
Jenna.
Jenna?
What's it, there's bias? All three of them are lawyers. I think they're freaking biased. They stick together, I tell you.
No, not me, I'm not a lawyer, no,
But
I just
you're
play one on TV.
Never disparaged your.
We'll stay on Zoom. On?
I know that you can learn a lot from Jenna as well, but thank you for everybody that is running. I hope you run again.
So that's on for Jenna, okay. Kathy?
I think I will go with Priscilla.
So, okay. I can't resist, 2 votes left.
He's the only one that knows the score.
No, I'm taking it because I do watch soccer with my son. Like,
Girls keep
I've got the score. Yeah. I think something that wasn't mentioned that is also informing my decision is something that Fernando articulated around Callie's responses. So I just want to highlight that so it doesn't feel like mine is coming out of left field. I think something else I think about is the ages of the children, if you do have them in the buildings, and having kind of a unique perspective that brings, and having students in the building. And I think something I think about is I feel like I'm becoming sort of the older crowd, and having kind of new
God, what does that
families
mean
with
for
young-
us?
We're dead.
My
We're
children
dead.
in the
Okay,
building.
sorry.
And I think something that I think about is having kind of the next generation of perspective as an elected official with younger children who has access to a group of people in this community that I don't feel like I feel very particularly connected to, and that's something that I think is important. And then the second piece was particularly her response around AI and technology being something that is critically important, because it is something that we have not nearly begun to scratch the surface of, but it is coming fast and furious, and the whole public education system is far behind. So that is going to be our one of our major tasks this year. So I appreciate that perspective. So for those reasons, I would choose Kelly.
So if we end up with a tie, then
We're going to go
we'll-
to fire.
So we're gonna make fire.
I'm gonna stick with Priscilla for the reasons that I described. So it looks like we do not have a tie. We have 3 votes for Priscilla, 4 votes for Jenna, and 2 votes for Callie. So it looks like Jenna has won the position. So
Renee?
In your notes, I scripted the 2 motions that need to be.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, right.
So is it 2 motions that we're making?
Yeah, hang on a sec. Let me find them.
Each has to make.
I probably have one
Yes.
here.
You go first.
Here.
Oh, yeah,
Want
right.
us to go first?
I don't know. That's just how Rainey did it.
Okay.
No offense, Rainey.
I move to appoint Jenna Wexler to serve on the school committee until the next annual election, at which time such office shall be filled by election for the remainder of the unexpired term. Second.
Second.
Okay, so we need a roll call vote. Laurel?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
On?
Aye.
Matt? Aye. It's unanimous. School committee.
Okay. I move to appoint Jenna Weschler to serve on the school committee until the next annual election, at which time such office be filled by election for the remainder of the unexpired term. Roll call vote.
Second. Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, it's
unanimous.
unanimous. We usually don't do this after a vote, but can we have a hand for all? Go cool off.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank you very much.
and
And
congratulations.
please do run.
Yes.
So we have the ability,
Oh, let's,
guys, we have other business. May I get a consensus of the board as to whether you entertain Cindy's
Yes.
taking that out of?
Yes.
I do. Yes.
You okay with taking things out of order?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
She's earned it.
I will absolutely do my best. We are going to mix up our agenda a little bit in order to listen to some information pertaining to draft comments to the NRC that Mary Lambert is asking us to consider. She is the chair of the Nuclear Advisory Committee. So Mary, if you would come up to the podium, and we're going to get an idea as to your recommendations. And we do have quite a bit on our agenda. So if we could give us the Reader's Digest, we trust you. We know you. We know you always have the best interests of us and the residents of Duxbury. So we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say, Mary.
Yes, I'll make this very quick because I did send you a 60-page comment for background. The issue is this. The President of the United States, Trump, issued an executive order to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission asking that they change a lot of their procedures and policies in order for nuclear reactors, more to be built, many more to be built in the United States more quickly, and also in part of this would be to reduce a lot of policies. The main policy this letter is concerned with, that I hope you'd consider sending, is to allow more radiation to be released. This would impact us in many ways during the decommissioning process. For example, the governor has not approved
the judge's order of not to dump into the bay, and she has not approved that yet. And so that could mean more going higher dose in the bay. Also, the governor has allowed the industry, or not opposed, to release radiation through its stack 24/7, and it would then be allowable to release more. As far as radioactive materials that might be going into our dump, because that is also under NRC license, then higher levels of radiation could go into our transfer station. So there are many, many impacts. We know that instead of allowing more radiation, clearly there should be less. We know that because of credible studies that have been done. This policy that the NRC put forward is based on politics. They had no scientific studies to back up their policy to allow more. However, we have seen in the communities, including ours, around Pilgrim, a case-controlled study done by the Department of Public Health, which is the best kind of study, that showed a 4-fold increase in adult leukemia the closer you lived and worked at Pilgrim, and that included our community. We have also seen recent studies by the Harvard School of Public Health that there have been more statistical studies showing the closer that you lived at Pilgrim, and they also looked at the millstones in Connecticut and other reactors in New England, the higher the probability of cancers. That study also was replicated in Korea, and they're going further in the communities around Pilgrim by taking blood and urine samples and bone samples, etc., to be able to put A to B. And so there are plenty of studies here and around the world showing that it's not only cancer, but there are problems with reproductive disorders, heart issues, etc. And also the NRC bases its dose on a healthy 30-year-old male sitting on the fence line, as opposed to, as it should, on the most vulnerable, which are babies, children, pregnant women, and older people. Women are more susceptible twice than males. And so for all these reasons, I suggest that we write a letter, and it has to be in by August 31st, that would say, no, based on our experience, we know that instead of allowing more, there should be allowing less for the safety of our public, for the safety of the workers, and to protect the environment. Because if you allow more out, it can get into agricultural lands, it can get into other types of agriculture and wind up on dinner tables. So it seems pretty straightforward, and anyone who's interested in the scientific facts as opposed to opinion, they can get in touch with me, and I'm more than happy to send that information. So appreciate always your interest in the issue.
Okay, so you have drafted a letter for the Select Board
For your
for our
consideration.
consideration. Members of the board, questions for Mary?
I think just to be clear, the letter, I'm going to just make sure I understand the letter, but all it's saying is that please retain the
All right.
the current regulations as low as reasonably achievable ALAR that was put into place in the 1970s, right? Nothing's changed since then. So that's what it says. Please don't remove, don't change the ALARA, retain it as is, right?
Yes, the
Okay.
president asked to change the dose model, the linear no threshold.
Yep.
The NRC couldn't do that with a straight face.
Yep,
They
okay.
had no studies.
Yep,
But
understood.
they could attack the ALARA as low as reasonably achievable. It's sort of like speed limits on a highway. If you keep the speed limit, because you can't have no speed limits on a highway to save the population, but you can have cops on the road, you can have seat belts, you can have all these other things to make it safer. What they're getting rid of are all those other things that could make it safer. So that's the route that they took.
So I'm getting confused, right? I just want to make sure, is that this letter is just recommending that we retain the ALARA as stipulated since the 1970s. That's
Yes,
what the letter
correct.
is saying, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Further questions?
Just, a question that's not specific to the letter, but in terms of the support behind it. So if I'm sure we're all supportive up here of sending it, but will other communities be sending it as well? This is a federal regulation, so
Yeah.
I'm looking for strength in numbers. Other communities, maybe the state rep, state senator, do we have any sense as to what the breadth of support
I
is?
believe Markey is. I read something out of California today, and I know Illinois, etc.
What about communities in Massachusetts around us?
I don't know of communities in Massachusetts.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Maybe.
One hopes.
Okay.
Cindy, any questions?
No, not at all.
Okay, before I open it up to the public, Mary, I did have a question, and you did mention that Governor Healy has not yet taken a position regarding the dumping of it was ordered that the water not be dumped into the bay, but she has not yet taken a position on that. Can you?
No, as you know, we went to court.
Yep.
Jim was one of the lead lawyers on it. And the process was to go to the administrative court in the Department of Environmental Protection. After, I think that started in the spring, I think it was June, the judge agreed that to dump into the bay violated various laws. Then the process required that the commissioner of DEP sign off. And what the commissioner does is directly under the wishes of the governor. We went in and spoke with the governor's staff, like what's going on, and nothing's happened.
So what we're waiting for is the governor to direct the DEP to sign.
Yes, correct.
So just before we sign off on, I believe that we're going to certainly endorse this letter. But are there other things, for instance, should the members of the community that are concerned about that, this is an the elections are always coming up around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Should people be reaching out to Governor Healy's office to encourage her to direct the DEP to sign the order?
I think that would be an excellent idea, because when she was running for the governor last time, it was quoted in, I think, Cape Cod Times, on some paper, over my dead body will we allow the dumping into the bay.
Well, great. Maybe it would be helpful for community members to
It
reach
certainly
out
would be
and
very
remind that.
helpful. And it would also be helpful to say that there could be measures the state could take so that evaporation of that contaminated radioactive and chemical material is not allowed to continue to go on 24/7, because they can get rid of all that water up the stack, and it's not measured there before release.
Thank you. Any more questions from the board?
No.
Any members of the public have any questions or comments? I'll take a motion.
Yeah, I move that actually, is that all right? I move that the Select Board endorses the document provided comments in opposition to NRC proposed draft rule NRC-2025-1140.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We have to do roll
Oh,
call.
yeah, yeah.
Cindy's on.
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Cindy? Thank you. It was unanimous. Thank you for all your hard work, Mary. We appreciate it.
Thank your husband as well.
Thank you.
Thank
And excuse me, I'd appreciate a copy of the letter, and then I will send that to the other select boards
Yes.
and our representatives, and in the hopes that they will follow suit.
Let's hope.
Let's
I
hope
do
that.
hope. But
And
thank you
so,
for doing that.
Ashley, if you could do that, that'd be great.
Rennie,
Okay, thank you.
Rennie, the coffee.
Mary.
Thank you.
You're cold now.
Well, no, I noticed that there were members of the audience putting sweaters on.
I was pouring sweat up here.
All right. Next item on the agenda, wait a minute, we can mix it up here.
Is
Is
the,
the discussion pertaining to the recommendations from the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee. And Ed Mayo, and I see some other members of that committee are here as well.
I think there's
That's what I was wondering.
Mr.
Got it.
Brogner at the back.
Just two?
So we do not inform?
Okay. Well, Ed, welcome, thank you.
Thanks.
Would you like to run through your recommendations to us?
And Ed, just so you know, I'm giving them hard copies of what you emailed out earlier.
Oh, okay, great, thanks. I did send out this morning by email the summary of kind of what I sent out at the beginning of August, just to make it a little bit easier to read and expedite things a little bit tonight, so I don't have to read through 13 pages unless you guys want me to, I can do that too.
Can you give that to Betsy?
No, but I think it would be, because this is the time for the residents to hear what, you know, you're our advisors to the select board. So if you could summarize what your recommendations at this point are, I think that will be helpful.
Sure thing. And what I'll do too is I'll go through the background just so everybody's up to speed of kind of where we're at, which I did include in there.
Was there any way to put it on the screen? Or is it too hard?
I emailed it to Ashley too, but
All right.
it's under, I think it was sent on 8/3.
Well, what I'm giving to the audience
Oh,
is
the
the stuff,
summary-
is
the
the thing
summary.
you sent this evening.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, we do have your email, but again, if you could summarize it, because people are hearing this for the first time. You guys have been deliberating on this for quite some time.
And it's a moving target. There's definitely things that have changed since this was produced, but I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Since the committee last considered its recommendation, significant additional information has become available, including an independent Level 2 timber inspection prepared by Dan Tingley, SGH's peer review of the rehabilitation proposal, Mass DOT's written response dated July 27, 2026, addressing the committee's questions regarding engineering, maintenance, construction, funding, and Section 106 progress, additional information regarding the anticipated long-term maintenance obligations associated with proposed replacement bridge, confirmation from Mass DOT that rehabilitation of the existing bridge remains under evaluation, additional information concerning the anticipated construction duration and environmental permitting restrictions, ongoing consultation under Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act, Mass DOT has also stated that currently programmed federal funding depends on the project being ready for design build procurement in 2027, and that a decision to suspend or significantly alter the project would likely need to occur before advertisement, which I believe people are saying around February that's kind of the date. Collectively, this information provides a more complete understanding of the alternatives before the town. It also demonstrates that several important engineering, financial, environmental, and historic preservation questions remain unresolved. Okay, so if I jump over to the summary here, number one proposed action item would be to request that Mass DOT complete and present its engineering evaluation of the rehabilitation alternative, including feasibility, anticipated service life, construction sequencing, maintenance requirements, and estimated construction and life cycle costs. One question I have about this personally, and I think members of the board do too, is I think until we get that decision in October about 106, the depth of this question, I think we should maybe table it to go to them, because they're going to dig deeper if the 106 is approved. They're going to dig less. So my personal recommendation is we don't ask this right away. I don't see the benefit of asking it now versus October.
Correct.
Okay.
Request a comparable life cycle cost analysis, and that's something I believe, Rainey, I think, did you say the other day that that's in the works?
Yep, it was in an email that I had sent to you.
Yep.
from the board.
So that's
So what is in the works?
in progress. Comparable life cycle cost analysis.
What is that?
So basically, ask me, Mass DOT to prepare a side-by-side life cycle comparison of rehabilitation and replacement using the same assumptions for construction costs, maintenance, major repairs, component replacement, municipal financial obligations, state and federal funding, and long-term ownership costs.
So essentially what we were presented in this past month, but from a rehabilitation standpoint.
Including that as well, yeah.
Yeah, so we can compare apples to apples.
That's
Exactly,
yeah.
that's exactly right.
All right.
Obtain an independent maintenance cost estimate. Request an independent professional estimate of the long-term maintenance costs for the proposed replacement bridge, including projected expenditures over 25, 50, 75, and 100-year planning periods. That's number 3.
Again, if we don't know what it looks like just yet, because whatever in October, and then we've got the geotechnical work, so there's a little bit of moving pieces right now. So we can certainly, number 3 is a bit like number 1 in the sense that
It's
there's
a
no
moving
point in
target.
doing that. It's a moving target,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So
But at some point we need it.
suggest holding that
But
one?
it's,
Yeah.
I think it would be a really good idea to line up who these independent people might be, and that way we have a jump ahead on it.
Okay, so we should be researching who the independent professional
And that's
estimators
both,
will
right?
be.
So if at the end of the day, we need to do a like-for-like comparison, right? So we also need to do the same for repair and replacement wood.
Correct. There's three options.
There's really three
possibly on the
options.
table.
Repair, replacement wood, and then the DOT then.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Identify available funding sources. I think that we can discuss in your next agenda item, because we did that with fiscal advisory. Finance did it as well. I did a bunch of research on what these funding sources could potentially be.
For what?
For future maintenance of the bridge, future expenditures that come from town. So that was something that originally we were going to ask Mass DOT to prepare, because they have a lot of knowledge about where these sources were. Every time we seem to ask Marco, he's really got a good answer for it. So that was one direction we were looking at. But I think as a town, we should really come together and learn what these sources could be, potentially be. That way, for 50 years from now or whenever, when it comes time to do some rehabilitation to whatever bridge we decide, we have a jump on it and we know what's out there. And obviously it could change, but I think I identified about 18 different places where the funding can come from.
Well, one of them was Chapter 90, and we
And
can't
that's
even.
about as far as I can take it.
But remember, in the Chapter 90s, we can't even maintain our roads with Chapter 90. But anyway,
Yeah, Chapter
but
90, that one, we know that's a
yeah,
loser.
that's the loser right there. But anyway, but your point is well taken.
Yep. Clarify long-term maintenance responsibilities. Request written confirmation from Mass DOT identifying which maintenance responsibilities remain with the town. It's basically all of them from what we understand now at this point. But there is funding available to take care of that depending on the scope of the project in the future.
Right.
Request comparable municipal examples. Ask Mass DOT to identify comparable municipal bridge projects, which I don't believe there are any. 2,000-foot bridges made out of wood in the state. But if there's anything similar, it would be nice to know what's going on with them. I mean, we've identified Chatham as being a big side-by-side comparison all along, but in a lot of ways it's not.
So you just said, I just want to make sure I understand, this one is asking them to identify comparable municipal bridge projects. Is that regardless of whether it is a wood rehabilitation or the bridge that they're proposing at this point, which is the steel and concrete? You're asking for them to show us what else they've built over salt?
Yeah, I think if anything, it's an information exercise where we could go to these towns possibly and say, hey, how do you maintain your bridge? How does this all work? Because we'd love to know.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
This is a big question that a lot of people have, and nobody seems to like Marco's answer. Receive a consolidated environmental summary. Request a single public report summarizing construction impacts, long-term maintenance impacts, permitting requirements, mitigation measures. I'm kind of torn. I almost feel like there should be, there's an expert out there. The information is out there. We just need to know how to find it. And what, I've heard from both sides that it's something that happens when permitting is already done and construction is just about to begin. The environmental side of things is almost last. But I think we should try to get a jump on it and see what it really entails if we have the ability to do that.
I've been saying that since the very beginning. That's a very important thing, I think, to understand what the environmental impacts are.
For wood,
for
repair, replacement wood, and DOT for all three
options.
For
all the options.
So I mean,
right?
you're looking at 500 pilings versus 100.
There we go.
How are you going to do it?
Yeah.
If you're looking at
Construction methods are all
demolition or you're
different.
not, if you're looking at whatever the project is, we
Yep.
have to understand what those impacts are before we can decide. So I really feel like that's such an important issue.
I think it's probably one of the most important issues. Clarify the design-build decision timeline. Request Mass DOT identify key project milestones. They did that with that little Gantt chart they put together for us before. I just want to kind of get it nailed down more. A lot of people have a lot of reservations about saying 4.5 years. People have doubled that number or tripled it. And
But again, we've got to apply the same criteria to repair, replacement wood, and DOT, right? So we've
Correct,
got to
yeah.
be really. I understand they put 4.5 out there. Whatever the number is, it's a big number. It's a very frightening number. But also, there's 555 piles, right? And there's a timeline. We need to fully understand the timeline impact for all
For each
three
option,
options.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mike, did you have your hand raised now?
No.
And I think no matter what comes out of all this in the next couple of years, we should really consider keeping this bridge advisory committee as a permanent thing for stewardship of the bridge moving forward. Was something that we all decided was a good idea.
I agree. This is something that maybe was overlooked at the meeting a month ago, but I think the phrase was after the advertisement goes out, things get a little squishy. And I think we need to do whatever we can to be involved, whichever direction we go. So I think that's important that we either, if we have to change the charge at some point, fine, but I think that we do need to keep them going.
I don't disagree.
So that's pretty much where we were at. And I think, obviously take it with a grain of salt. There's a lot of stuff on here that can't be answered yet necessarily until the 106 is at a certain stage. There's a lot of information still to be figured out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, Cindy.
I want to go back to the environmental study, and wondering if Ed has any ideas about how to make sure that that happens. How do we identify, or does anybody there have that information? How do we identify the person, the firm, or whatever that could provide us with that information, knowing, of course, that it's not a final design. We don't have the specs. It's not, about to get going. But there's got to be something out there that gives us some ballpark ideas of what one versus the other, how that would affect our environment. And how do we find that?
Cindy, I can look into that deeper, unless anybody else has any other suggestions. I can do a deep dive on it. I know some people at the DEP and other places that can help out.
I mean,
Because I think this is something that we haven't done yet, and we keep talking about, and it's a piece of information, and I think you said there's two of them. I mean, I think it's a piece of information that is critical to our decision making.
I agree. I wondered if conservation may have thoughts on it. I wondered if, I know it was suggested that the Bay Management Committee may want to opine on this, or have.
Yeah. So,
But
sorry.
trying to find some in-house, rather than going out of house, because we don't really have funds. So I'm just trying to,
Right.
thinking of what Cindy's asking for and how we can, again, we're still in the information gathering, process of this.
Maybe there's some, benefactors out there that would like to help with this. There are certainly benefactors that wanted to bring Dr. Kingley here, and so maybe there's another group or something that might say, this is really important to me, and I know the town doesn't have the budget, have this in their budget, I'd help out with it. Just thought.
Yeah. I think that the issue is, well, the complication is, right, is this, we need to request this for all three options.
Yes.
So that's what makes it even more
Yes.
complicated, right? But,
Big task.
but it's a bit, let me see here for a second, right? And any project that's done within Massachusetts must go through the regulatory agencies, right? It has to go through DEP. I presume it goes through Coastal Zone Management, EPA. It goes through the, how do you call it? The Paul, you know what? Army Corps, the Marine Fisheries, Fish and Wildlife. There is a whole bunch of organizations, right? The Commonwealth that will look at this and scrutinize this, right? And whatever project, I'm just trying to think about how this works, right? I don't know how it works, but it would seem in the way it's been described, right, is all these agencies need to look at repair, replacement, wood, replacement, DOT, right, and understand what each part of the project involves, right, and what impact that has on the environment from the perspective of Fish and Wildlife, one of the Corps of Engineers, the DEP, the EAP. And so all those will look at all those pieces, right? And then they will figure out the environmental impact, and then they will put the mitigation measures. We've already had an indication of the impact on the environment with the fisheries, right? Basically, there's a part of the season where the reproductive cycle of some fish in there, we cannot do any work. That is a mitigation to prevent an environmental impact, which is basically the species gets impacted. It cannot reproduce, right, because they're building stuff, right? So that is the mitigation. That is the mitigation. So all these organizations, right, will go through and mitigate the impact as either we repair, replace wood, or basically replace with DOT. So what I'm struggling with is that these organizations work for the Commonwealth, right? So are we doubting the ability for DEP to understand the environmental impact and put mitigations to prevent impact to Duxbury Bay. Again, I'm just work on this, right? I'm trying to understand
Can I
this.
just say that I don't think that any these organizations are going to look at a variety of options. I think that they're going to look at
What the plan is.
whatever option
Yeah.
we choose, which for me
That's why they
is
do it
putting
last.
the cart before the horse, because part of my decision-making is based on what, and it's not just the fisheries, it's, what is there's sediment and there's eelgrass.
Oh, yeah,
and
there's
there's oysters and there's just
Yeah.
all these things that I guess I want to know what the impacts to this sensitive environment is before making a decision that we're just going to go with this and then, mitigate them as much as you can.
So
Okay,
I have
it's
a
just-
very basic understanding of it, and you know how they do the takes on the beach with the plovers? It's very similar to that in the way that it operates. That's kind of the cyclical way that they do it. And I don't know any more than that, but that someone explained it to me from fisheries saying, you know how they do the takes with the plovers? It's basically the same process that they do in bridge construction. And
Anyway,
that's something I need to find out.
So maybe at the end of the day, again, if we're going to
It's a
replace
giant
with wood, I mean, environmental impact, right?
We don't know what that is.
I know, but
Yeah.
this is local Duxbury Bay. What about the environmental impact of harvesting basically tropical wood, right? I mean, if we replace it, we'll replace from wood from the Amazon, right? That's the source of wood that's originally in that bridge, isn't it? Dr. Tingley confirmed that it was a hardwood, a tropical hardwood that was
South
in there.
American wood.
It's South American wood. So are we going to do an environmental impact of harvesting all that wood? I'm just asking, right? I mean, it has to. I mean, where do we draw the line, right? so
It's less.
I mean, anyway, it doesn't matter. Moving on.
Yep.
It's just this is a big question, and so I fully understand the concern, right?
So yeah, I would love to go all in with anybody that can lead us with environmental within town.
Maybe the first step is to actually maybe see if we can get DEP to come in and have a chat with us.
I can do that.
Department of Environmental Protection, that's their job, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we ask them to come in and chat with us, and we can ask these questions and see what they say. What do you think?
We can ask.
We can ask.
I'm
They're
not
really
sure
busy.
that they're going to have.
I've asked a couple times already.
No, but I'd like to ask them.
Okay.
I know you've asked them, but I'd like to ask them.
Okay.
Why don't we ask DOT to come in and say, look, as an example, the DOT bridge. Just one. Give us an idea of how they do it.
Thanks.
Give the information, we need a lot of information before you give us any sort of a concrete decision.
We do need information, that's for sure, Cindy.
Yeah.
Mike and then,
But like Fernando said, to do an apples to apples comparison of each option beforehand would be really excellent.
yeah,
Yeah, Mike.
So I'm trying to understand this apples for apples, and I'm just wondering if there was any desire amongst your committee or even capacity to seek some independent evaluations of a rehab alternative or a wood replacement alternative for these 5 things: the feasibility, anticipated service life, construction sequencing, maintenance requirements, estimated construction and life cycle costs.
So as far as our committee, that wasn't really our charge, I don't
understand.
think. But with the 106 on the horizon, it could become that very quickly.
Yeah.
If that becomes the option, then we're
Yeah,
gonna
just
have
help
to-
me understand that, because why does it, I mean, if
If the
so
106.
that comes in October, we've got this shrinking timeline of when the advertisement date is and
So-
when money's disappearing. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't
so
we
it's
just
money,
charge you now?
there's everything's getting juggled at once, right? So if the 106 comes back, which in our state of affairs with the administration, somebody from Duxbury actually sent me an article today saying they are wiping out the consultant process with 106. It hasn't happened yet, but it's in the works. So we probably just slid in right in time to be able to have consultants. They said they're going to expedite the whole process. I'll send it along to you guys. It's a really interesting article.
Okay.
if they come back in October and say the bridge is not historic, then that, we're gonna either have to come up with the money, according to DOT, to do anything in wood for pilings and for rehabilitation, because according to the DOT, their option is to put steel pilings in with a concrete deck and wood walkways, and that's pretty much been it.
Right.
So if that is a negative in October, then that's what we're stuck with. Unless somebody comes along and says, I'll pay for it, I think is the only other option, or we found funding some other way.
Don't you think the DOT would be interested if there was a rehabilitation alternative or a replacement with wood that that satisfied all their requirements, including lifespan and things of that nature?
So it's my
And
understanding
cost a third of.
that in the beginning of this whole process, that was the first thing that they did, was they look at replace versus rehabilitation. And that's where they came up with, let's just replace the whole bridge. Because the pilings are in bad shape, is what I think was their outcome.
Oh, I
don't
get
have
that,
anything-
yeah, and they don't want to put wood in, I heard all that they've said, but they also said, now we've heard from one of 7 persons in the world that this
Right.
is actually doable.
Yep.
And I get that they're considering it, but I'm just asking,
I
if
don't
there's
know the
anybody,
answer,
if
'cause
you
I-
want
yeah,
to charge.
I've been told by them that this is
To
the
look
way it
into
is,
this
and I
and see
don't-
if there's any, I'm not saying, there's different rules for municipal finance. You have to seek bids but I don't know if there's a way you folks can get started, or if you even want to, or have the capacity to get started now. But if you don't, I get it.
In terms of going after an estimate for ABC, that's pretty difficult to do if you go up to like whoever does our repairs Northern, just say, hey, can you just give me an idea of how much this is
Okay.
gonna cost if we do ABC? I don't know, A, if they're gonna do that,
Yep.
or B, it's a tough thing. I mean, I
Okay.
can try it,
No,
because I know in construction, people all the time will say, yeah, I'll give you an estimate and hopefully I get the job, and then just do it. But
Yeah.
when it's $170 million, it's like, yeah, they're probably gonna charge for it, so that they can study more. But I do believe that we have enough information between SGH's prior reports to make an estimate on what it would cost to rehabilitate and replace in wood, if that became an option.
I mean, part of the cost here isn't just like the costs. It's these, and I talked about it last time, these other costs associated with the bridge being done for 4.5 years at a minimum. It's far from free.
Right.
And so that's another piece of this. I don't want to just hear like what the construction costs are. Like, how long is it going to take? Is there a way to replace or repair this that has less bridge downtime? Because that's what everybody's going to be concerned about here. Once
Sure.
their eyes turn to this,
Yep.
is that bridge is going to be down for at least half a decade.
I thought where you were headed when you first were talking about the Mass DOT and the funding and now they have heard the report from Tingley. They've seen the consultant's report kind of supporting the ability to rehab with wood. I thought where you were going was to suggest kind of further pressure for Mass DOT to fund an alternative even without the 106. But am I hearing that is just not a possibility at this point?
We haven't,
That
I
is
don't think we've
correct.
received that in writing, but we've received it verbally multiple times.
So that's just not an option?
Correct.
Just asking again, making sure. I haven't seen it in writing.
Yep, I have none either.
I mean, I've
Any
heard
other-
it.
I've
but
heard
then
it too, but
it
then I
seems
read it
there's-
and there seems to be doors open in some of the comments that they write, so it's
I agree.
hard to know the exact answer. Okay.
So I think in the next couple of weeks, a lot's going to happen when we
Yeah.
get that life cycle cost analysis, if they deliver it.
Yep.
That will say a lot, and then our group will meet again. We'll review a lot of the stuff as things are ongoing, and report back. But I don't know if there's anything else you want from our group to do,
Just keep up the good work.
besides grab a hammer.
No.
Don't wrap.
Now, you
Keep up
done
the good work. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks,
a lot of
Fernando.
hard work, and we do
Thank you.
appreciate it very much.
Yep.
Questions from the board?
Just curious, you've been a great spokesperson for the committee. I haven't been watching the meetings, but is everybody on the committee generally in agreement with where you stand, or are there differences of opinions, and if so, what are they?
I think people thought this was a little bit early to be giving you guys this, after we'd already discussed it, and then more information came out. And my opinion is that it's kind of a rolling target, like I said, and there's gonna be a lot of changes. I like to present things so you guys have the information, or whoever the person is, rather than be silent about it. And so that's kind of what my attitude was I don't mind sharing all this. This is the information that I've received. I think it's all good information. We're not making any concrete decisions. It's worthy of a discussion. And some other members don't really feel that way. They think it's a little premature to be doing this. But I think it's good to bring it to light. I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank you, Ed. And the Potter Point Bridge Advisory Committee.
I think Betsy was up next.
Yeah, Betsy?
This gentleman was gonna trip over me if he didn't get in here first, so I don't know.
So is there, I just want to make sure that, and I know Betsy, you haven't spoken on this, but as we move forward with this conversation, let's try to hit targets on new information, things that we have not heard before, as we are getting weary. Betsy?
We are. One of the things that I think needs to become more of a bullet point is the financial impact to the community. I was a little disappointed that didn't enter into it tonight. We have a source, a guaranteed source, to do the DOT project. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I don't have the qualifications, but we do have that as a financing source. All these other proposals, we don't necessarily have a financing source. And I think
Correct.
that it's unfair to the community to present these options without the impact if we have to pay for them. A fabulous list of potential grants. If they're federal, we're not getting them. They don't like us. And for now, but I really could not count into a financing or payment for any of this unless it's in writing. And to lead people to believe that those options are attainable or easily attainable is misleading. And this is going to have, if we end up paying for this ourselves through rehab or restoration or replacement, it's going to be a huge impact to our community. And having just been through 2 years of an override, the appetite that people have for adding $1,000 or $2,000 to their tax bill is not great. So that has to enter into these conversations. Many of the things that were discussed tonight we can't do anything about it until we understand the 106 and what the 106, and I need clarification on this. In October, we just know that we're eligible for the conversation. There is no guarantee that we have the 106 status. It's just that we're eligible to pursue it, or am I wrong?
I don't know the answer to
By-
that. Do you know that,
That's an
Randy?
important,
Right,
because
you know, you filed it.
Could you go to a microphone?
so we're eligible but not guaranteed to receive.
No, but my understanding is that 106 will determine whether the bridge is historic or not, right? This is an appeal process. It's already been stated by the state, and that is not historic, right? So this process has been appealed to the keeper, to the feds, right?
Makes sense, yeah.
All right, and then this appeal process, once it comes up, the keeper could say, state, yeah, you're right, this bridge is not historic. But actually, they could say the bridge is historic, and then DOT will then need to basically review, the keeper will review, what have you done, what's the impact, and how can you mitigate any work that you do on the bridge that will impact historic nature, right? And so that's a big decision, right? Because if it is deemed historic, that will change everything that DOT has done.
There's a big difference between being deemed eligible for historic status or being historic.
Right,
And if
and that's.
in October, that's what I'm trying to get to. Are we just deemed eligible? So we don't have a definitive answer whether it's historic. So we really can't pursue the DOT because unless anything different than what Rainey, I'm looking at you. I'm not trying to make a case here. I just want to understand.
Oh, I get it. I'm not that familiar with the 106. My understanding is that once filed, the purpose was to appeal
Yes.
what's already happened. The state has already made a determination saying that the bridge isn't 50 years old, so it's not historic. It's 40 years old.
They say it's not eligible. The keeper can reverse the decision and say it is eligible, and that's October. It's eligible is it. That's it. That's all you need.
Eligible is all you need.
Then he'll
So
be.
eligible doesn't just mean then you might. That's
bring-
eligible is
Then that's great. So my concern also is the clock, and when we have to make a decision before this $172 million is going to be parceled out to another project in the
Right.
state. And this all gets back to, and maybe I'm being short-sighted, and I hope I'm not, but my point of view has to be the financial impact to the town
Yep.
and to the community.
Yep.
And if indeed we pursue this avenue and there is a financial impact or a potential financial impact to the community and to the town budget, we have to make that point.
Yeah.
And the conversations that I've been privy to and listened to, there's a lot of conversation about many things, but the financial impact to the town does not seem to be front and center, and it has to be front and center. Because
Correct.
people in this town have let us know loud and clear that their tax bills are something they're concerned about.
Yeah.
And following up with the environmental, I had asked Rainey today about, could we get some feedback on that? And he made a couple of calls, and the price tag on even doing preliminary is 6 figures. So we just don't have the money until we make a decision what we're going to do and hopefully have it paid for either because we've decided to bite the bullet or DOT. It's hard. I mean, it's not a fun thing. Can we afford it? I don't know. But we've got to make that determination or a lot of people are spinning their wheels.
Yeah.
So that's all I had to say.
And Betsy, as Marco had said during the fourth presentation that they made, if the 106 process, if the appeal is upheld, and they say, yes, it's historic, he said, at that moment, that's when Mass DOT puts their pencils down, and then they stop working on the project, which is actively underway now, and then they focus on what needs to be done to
Correct.
meet the guidelines of the 106.
So, but many of these questions and many of these things that DOT is being requested will have no value if that does not come through.
True.
Yeah.
Or will be certainly severely
Yes.
curtailed.
Correct.
Well,
Yes.
we've held off on the ones that
Yes.
we're waiting for the 106, so we're not going to ask questions that are
So
premature.
can we get
Yeah.
it done between October and February so that we don't lose the money if because of the conversation that then needs to take place? And that's just a question. I'm not.
Yeah.
I forwarded this list over to Mass DOT today, so they have it, and they know what we're thinking of. With respect to your question about the environmental impact study, I talked to both SGH and Pat Brennan because they have both recently done it. Pat Brennan having done it for the seawall most recently, and SGH having done it many, many times. The estimated cost of doing one of those is about $100,000 at the minimum. Depending on the nature and scale of the scope, a bridge project could be in order of $350,000, and that's simply back of napkin exercise. They aren't usually they're not done independent of one another because there has to be a project to which they are reacting. What happens first is you start with what's called an environmental notification form, and then based on that feedback, the scope of the project, MEPA could require a full environmental impact study, and I'd be very surprised if the bridge did not require a full environmental impact study. But again, that doesn't happen until there is a concrete project for them to consider. They do not work in the abstract.
Sure.
They work with facts, and they work on what are you going to do? Are you going to have, what's it going to be made of? What's it going to look like? You know, composition, material, design, depth, a whole host of things, because there's about 10 different agencies minimum that get involved in that study.
Right. Environmental
I think all
impact
of
It
assessment.
takes a long time.
Yeah.
All of
You
these
can take-
questions are fabulous questions and good, excellent data. We need hard data to make a hard decision.
Yep.
The seawall took 8 months
Right. And this was far more complicated.
for the environmental impact study
Yeah.
alone. It was 8 months.
Yep.
I'll shut up.
No, but you raised good points, Betsy. Thank you.
I think the biggest point is we need information, good, solid, objective information.
For the community.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Just on this point, does the Old Colony Planning Council or anybody provide an economic study service for something like this?
No,
Is
they
there-
don't. I checked with them last week. We had a meeting, Mary, Matt Hines and I had a meeting with a person who does this kind of work, and we're providing them with information so we can get a quote back to us so we can have an idea of what the economic impact would be, not just to the town, but also to the businesses that are in town.
Oh, it's good to hear.
Thank you.
Excellent, Bernie. Thank you.
It's important too.
Yep.
Okay,
All
anybody
right.
else?
No, I think we're good.
We have some speakers.
Somebody's got a hand raised online, too.
Okay,
Start with-
sir.
This is, Peter, this is new stuff, correct?
It is new stuff.
Like, okay.
Okay, Peter Dalton.
I,
And tonight, we brought in Paul Armstrong, principal, owner of South Shore Pile Driving. Paul's over there. And he was the one that took out the old Duxbury Yacht Club pier and replaced it. And Paul is willing to work South Shore Piling with Dr. Dan Tingley. And we talked about if he was to work with Dr. Dan Tingley doing the Dutchman repair of the piers, 12 months a year underneath the pier, like we talked about before. I don't want to get into that. Would be no road closures or anything like that. There'd be no environmental impact whatsoever by putting those Dutchmen in. I know that's a big issue. And he's
No,
willing
he
to
has to
speak
go to
on
bid.
that tonight, Paul.
Excuse me, just for the record, I want to make sure you understand, he'd have to go out, this project would have to go out to bid.
Yes, we know that.
Okay.
We know that. As you know, I talked about the oyster farmers. They're getting very concerned about this, okay?
you've talked about that already.
You did, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to reiterate on that. The other thing is today, I was notified that there was 6 DOT workers on site today. I was wondering what they were there for. They were there this morning around 10:30, visiting the bridge. Do you know why they were there any?
Probably, the project is underway. I mean, this project has not stopped. It is still moving forward, and that's part of whatever work they're doing.
Maybe they're
It
doing
could
the
have been
inspection.
surveying, could have
I
been a
don't know. I
surveying
was
party.
just curious what they were there for, and the people have called me and asked me what's going on.
Yeah,
And Paul would like to speak. Paul, would you like to talk on that?
Right, no,
Is that okay with you?
it's not the agenda, right? So Paul's going to talk about Dutchman repairs and piles. I mean,
If you don't want him to speak, that's fine. I'm just letting you
But-
be
but the-
willing to
but the
speak
po-
on it. And of course,
I
with the
think it may
environment-
be
Premature.
premature this
Okay, all right.
evening. I think,
Yeah.
as we move forward,
Yes.
certainly if,
If the-
depending on the 106, depending on some factors, I think that's going to be good information to
Yes.
know. I don't think our agenda really allows us to get into that
Okay.
of depths unless
understand.
anybody disagrees.
yeah, no,
think
again, there's lots of
first
moving pieces,
Yes,
Peter,
I know.
right? And to start talking about getting a presentation on Dutchman piles,
I know, I agree
we
with
don't
you.
even know if
Definitely not on the
that's an acceptable form
I know. I
of
just wanted to put a
repair.
bug in your ear that he is willing,
But,
Good to
did
know,
a very
and
good
we'll
job
look
over there.
forward to his.
As
I
far
don't
as the
wanna-
environmental impact
Yeah.
of doing the Dutchman, there won't be any.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
And-
Thank you
And
for
thank you
listening.
for coming along.
Hi, yes.
Hi, Ellie Monaghan. I just wanted to make a comment about the comment to regards to the finances. I just want to make sure that everybody's, on the same page. This isn't just a cash decision. You know, this is like an impact to the culture of the town, to the other businesses that rely on the bay as a part of their business. And so when you talk about, you know, I want to see the financial impact, it's not just, you know, to the town residents, how much it's going to cost us or not, because the cost, you know, when you look at that full picture, is going to be, you know, it's enormous. And that has to be considered as well, because a lot of those people that are operating those businesses are a part of the town.
Yep,
No,
correct.
We've asked for that. That was what Mr.
Okay, I just wanted
McGee
to-
specifically asked for that, and there's.
And Rennie's doing it, so yes, we're analyzing not just the cost impact, but also the other costs, yes.
Right, and I know, you know, some of the numbers that were floated about just a total repair of the bridge, you know, meaning a reconstruction with the wood and everything. You know, some of those numbers were looking around $17 million to get everything in order. I mean, if you just do the math and divide by how many residents we have, you know, it's, you know, if we were to have to fund this, you know, a majority of it, not necessarily all of it, it's not that unreasonable. I mean, you're talking about $1,000 in your taxes per year. So that's not such a dramatic impact when you consider also if you were to add in the business cost of taxes to afford that as well, that could be, you know, some sort of, I don't know, a tariff or a tax put on the businesses in the, you know, for the future, because they're using the bay,
Right.
for example.
I don't think that that's probably a feasible way forward, but the 17, we've heard a lot of numbers have been put out there. There's constraints on the town and other factors that we have to put into this, such as going out to bid. That tends to take, you know, one price tag and really escalate it. So there's a lot of factors that come in, but I think that, you know, again, we're still in the information gathering part of this. We're trying to get those types of numbers and understand what those amounts would be, so that we can try to compare and get information out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alicia, same thing.
Yep, I'll be quick.
It has to be really new, Alicia.
It's quick.
Is it new?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if it's brand new, but I wanted to I took some notes when Ed was talking, and I know that he was talking about maybe having to change the charge for the committee, but I think for whatever reason, over time, the committee's focus has been very heavily DOT. I don't know if that's been by someone's direction or if that's just kind of how it's happened, but their charge on the website is very neutral in terms of, you know, what they can be doing. Reviewing project plans, analyze goals related to the design of Powder Point Bridge, and report to the Select Board with specific recommendations that can be implemented to support those goals. Work with staff, that type of thing. So I do think that they are able to do some of the things that they might need to do to explore both without having to change the charge. I do want to just comment on what Betsy had to say about the financial impact. I totally agree that should be front and center. But I just want to remind everybody that there's a financial impact today, and there's also a financial impact in the future, and what we're going to be leaving our kids with. And I know that was part of the conversation.
You've already talked about that, Alicia. You've already mentioned that.
I understand.
100 times.
I understand. Want to also remind everybody that there are environmental impacts directly to the bay. And when you were talking about
Alicia,
when you were
you've already
talking about
talked about that.
when you were
Let's
talking
not-
about the
let's-
wood,
same
I'd like to
stuff.
just remind you that the materials for the DOT, the carbon-intensive materials, also have impacts. And the last two things I have is I'd like to know what the town has to do to position us in a way where we will have flexibility to decide how the repairs happen this winter with the 300 that we've appropriated, whether or not we continue down the same path with these repairs that really are very temporary, or if we can do the other repairs that Dr. Tingley had recommended, to try them out and live with them. Either way, they're less expensive. So I don't know what would have to happen to be able to switch out the plan for how that goes.
Yep, we heard.
Randy would like to respond to
First,
that.
It's not a mystery. There's only one project, and it's active now.
Yeah.
That's either option 1 or option 2 as proposed by Mass DOT.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you didn't know why or how. Well, the board on September 25th of last year voted to move forward that way.
Right. No,
So
and
that's why there's only one project. There is no wood project out there. It's
I
not
under-
being
I
contemplated. So
under-
that's the reason there's only concrete on the table.
I understand, but I guess what I'm asking is, even if that is the project that goes forward, the town still has to do repairs this winter to keep it open.
That's correct. Now,
Right,
now
so
jump
what-
forward to the third point you made, which is that one.
Right. So what I'm saying
That goes
is,
to the capital committee.
right, but if we're watching our dollars, regardless of that, why would we not look to do some of these Dutchman repairs that are in kind with
Because
long-term
Dan Tingley is
preservation
not
and
the
they're less
engineer of record.
expensive?
SGH is the engineer of record. They're the ones that have been moving us forward on the repairs to that bridge for the last 6 or 7 years. They are the engineer of record. That's true.
I totally understand, but
Okay,
SGH has also corroborated what the costs potentially would be to do it the other way. And
There's
then,
I
Alicia,
think
Yeah.
that this is, we're kind of getting out of,
Right.
I think that's a valid, probably a point, but maybe not for this meeting, but let's talk about as we move forward.
In the budget process, we can talk about it.
Let's talk about,
Capital.
what are the best ways.
And just for anybody coming up to the podium, I just want you to be mindful of what was on the agenda tonight. It's a discussion and vote pertaining to a proposed amendment to the PowerPoint advisory.
No, that's the
No.
second. That's the next one.
That's the next thing.
Discussion pertaining, recommendations from the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee pertaining to the Powder Point Bridge. So if we could keep it onto that, and that would be great. And I just, as a, just a friendly request, if someone's talking, and this goes for us too, let's try to let each other get their words out and their responses out before the next person starts speaking. It's really difficult to kind of understand what people are advocating for if I can't hear them. And so I'd appreciate that from the audience members and from also the board. Just to ask of that.
Thank
please.
you.
Thank you.
I'll start using my gavel more.
There you go.
Sir?
Frank Geisel, Pilgrim Byway. I have two things.
I have two things that I want to say. One of them is procedure. And it's important because we are concerned about transparency, honesty, and communication with one another. Communication with people that are supposed to be working for us. When there are people from MassDOT who are here and we don't know what they're doing, that bothers me. May not bother you, may not bother our DPW director, it bothers me. Okay? If it doesn't bother you, that bothers me. What are they doing? Did they not call? They show us. They owe you a call, if nothing else. Hey, we're gonna be here because we're doing X, Y, Z. Otherwise, hey, it's free reign. That doesn't go. This is especially in the time period between now and when you're supposed to make a decision. Communication, transparency, honesty, respect, all of those things, those are not fly-by-night buzzwords. They're real, and they're demonstrated by finding out and saying to people, here's what's happening to your bridge.
Oh, Mr. Geisel, I'm going to just defend us all
Next.
up here,
It's
because
important.
I
We don't
understand that
make it
it's
fair.
important,
Good.
but we don't micromanage the different departments in town.
I'm
The
not trying
Mass
to
DOT
micromanage
has
either.
been working with our departments for quite a number of months. I'm sure that there have been many visits to the area. I would expect that. I think we would all expect that. None of us are micromanaging at that level. So I think that it's customary. I think it's expected that they still, we're asking constant questions of them, which I'm sure necessitate their visits and their additional work. So I have to believe and do I expect that project group, that group of people who are working to contact the town manager or the DPW every time that they're going to be on site? Probably not. So I'm sorry, but I am going to push back a little bit and defend us on that one.
$172 million project, if I was running it, I'd be communicating. I want to read for you. You wanted some new information. I'm going to read to you from an email. This is sent from Francis M. Welch, Mass. Dot. Mr. Welch is the Deputy Director of Major Projects, Mass. Dot. Highway. Some questions that we were asking Mr. Welch regarding funding. I'll read this for me.
Guys, would you be willing to stand up and talk into the microphone?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Question: are there any federal or state restrictions that would prevent using the currently programmed off-system bridge funds for a rehabilitation/preservation alternative rather than a full replacement? Clear the question? Answer. Response: no, provided that it is designed and constructed in accordance with all MassDOT and FHWA guidance. There are no restrictions to using those existing funds for rehabilitation/preservation versus full replacement. Second question, TIP/STIP amendment procedure for scope changes. If the project designation is changed from, quote, bridge replacement, end quote, to, quote, bridge rehabilitation/preservation, quote, with revised cost estimates, what TIP and STIP amendment or adjustment steps would be required, and which entities, MassDOT, Old Colony MPO, FHWA, must approve those changes? Response. Amendments to project descriptions and costs are relatively simple. The project proponent would request the change, and MassDOT would approve the change through its Project Readiness Committee, PRC, process. At this point, MassDOT would update the TIP. It would be discussed at the MPO meeting and subject to a comment period. Once endorsed by the MPO, it would go to FHWA for final approval. MassDOT, Old Colony MPO, and FHWA must approve of these changes. So there are no restrictions to using that existing funding for rehabilitation/preservation versus full replacement.
There does, I'm
read that.
listening,
We
we've
read
read
that.
that, and there does seem to be some conflicting
Yep.
reporting in that area, so I agree.
Here's somebody directly from, he's the Deputy Director of Major Projects.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wish to chime in at this point?
So, yes, please. One more time, Ellie Montague. So if that were true, how would we respond to that, to pivot?
I think we're asking our Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee to direct MassDOT to complete the rehabilitation evaluation, which includes complete and present its engineering evaluation of the rehabilitation alternative, including and all of those things. That was the first thing that was on their requests of proposed action items.
But we're holding off on that.
I know, and I had asked why we don't.
But what I mean is
Think
I've
we should
heard,
move forward with it anyways?
No, I'll take the advice of our Powder Point Advisory. I think it's.
I have heard that you all have said that it's cut and dry. Mass DOT has this design or that design, but from that information, it seems as though, so maybe Mass DOT is just, driving forward with, a project that they have in their system, but that if we push hard enough and we cite some of this information that is factual, if it is factual, it seems as though we have an opportunity to pivot.
again, we've had some mixed information. Yes, that is one, but we've also received some comments, both verbal and in writing, that conflict with that
So-
determination.
Right, so therefore.
Which is it?
You have no answer, so why not take this gentleman's correspondence and, you know, run with that and see if you can't get that flag to wave? Because if they're responsive to the request from this person who seems to be higher than an individual who has been given a task to go out and, you know, work a project, I mean, they're in a tunnel vision of what they're doing, but if somebody from higher up above them listens to us and agrees with us, then that could all change. I mean,
Well, you're right. We don't know if that person's higher, lower. We don't know the relationship they have within the organization. But we are trying to get some concrete answers in that regard. So we certainly can call that memo to our Marco's attention and get some clarification on it. Because it would be nice to know.
yeah, that seems like it could be our little chink in the armor to get what we're looking for, right? That seems extremely significant to me. And
Thank you.
until they say that's not accurate, that's an option. Let's not overlook the option.
Well, again, we don't know where that came from within the organization, so we are going to get clarification from
That would be
Marco
awesome.
at Mass DOT as to whether that is valid, correct information. Can we do that, Randy? Thank you.
Because that bucket of money could do a lot for a wooden bridge. We'd all be happy and done, right? That would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Tad Carpenter, Summer Street. I know it's late. I'll be brief. I don't really see any ambiguity. It's very clear. DOT has a project in front of them. They're pursuing the project. Who is the project sponsor? The correspondence indicated that it is the project sponsor's decision to amend the project. Who's the sponsor?
Who's the sponsor? Are we the sponsor?
What are you talking about in terms of amending the
I'm
project?
responding to what we just heard. The project sponsor can redefine or propose changes to the scope. That's what we just heard.
It's a Mass DOT project.
The sponsor.
So you're suggesting Mass DOT is the sponsor?
I would
they're
think.
Both the project.
We're not funding it, we're not
executor-
permitting it, we're not designing
All right,
it.
maybe we can't answer that question right now. That's an interesting question. The environmental review, it seems very clear that you can't do a 3 parallel environmental comparison review. The system is not set up for that. I understand that. Compliance is driven by legal requirements, and that's a very narrow channel. Clearly, all 3 environmental analyses would rest on the same foundation of the biology of the bay. Don't we have that information? Isn't that something we can bring to bear? What we're missing is a risk model. Each of the 3 approaches has risks. We are not going to be able to do a bottom-up environmental analysis on all 3 projects. Impossible. If we want that, we have to go top-down. What is the approach? What is the risk model? The same biological substrate underneath, and do a rough estimate. That's the most intelligent approach to the problem. I think we can do that with the people in this town. And finally, on the historical, I just have to say it, this structure has existed for 135 out of the last 137 years. If you look at the area, there's another wooden structure representing history that was replaced in its entirety. The Mayflower sat in Plymouth Harbor for 150 years or something and finally rotted into the sea. And they rebuilt it. And it is an historic attraction. And if you enter Plymouth Bay on a boat, and I don't know, there are tourist vessels that come right in and dock in Plymouth Harbor and disgorge hundreds of tourists, you see the Mayflower, you see the Standish Monument, and you see the Powder Point Bridge. And the entire area is historic. And to replace the wooden Powder Point Bridge with a steel and concrete structure would be a repudiation of the traditions and history of this town of getting things done the way we want them done. Thank you and good night.
Okay, Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Anyone else this evening?
I'm on Ronald Mines Wick.
Oh, Bree.
Oh, Bree, yep, go ahead. Something new?
10.0 Union Street. I wanted to answer a quick question of what kind of wood was used for the original. It was a yellow pine. The reason that we have one falling apart now is because we used a different kind of wood. I have nothing else to add to it. I just wanted to answer that question. The yellow pine is still going strong in many wood houses across Duxbury. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bree.
All right. Having it be 9:35. Anybody else? All right, hearing nothing. We're going to move on to the next agenda item. Thank you, Ed, and thank your committee for all the hard work.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
So we're going to go ahead and look at the charge, right? That's.
Oh, that's right. That
Yeah.
is the next item.
Next item.
Next item.
Proposed amendment.
So we have a discussion and vote pertaining to a proposed amendment to the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee charge, which I believe is to add some additional
Horsepower.
members.
Yep.
Yes.
On the backside of your
And it
memo.
has been recommended that we add a member of the Finance Committee
Yep.
and a member of Fiscal Advisory.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all see the wisdom to that. Discussion on those,
do it.
those additions?
Good idea.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cindy, do you have
What would be
anything?
the procedure? Would you make a recommendation, and I'm looking at Chair Sullivan, would you make a recommendation, and would Mr. Chen?
I already have a volunteer.
And then we vote on it?
Yes.
Yes, but I also would like to propose that someone from Bay Management be added to your change in charge, as they are our local representatives in what happens in the Bay, and I think a lot of the conversation is revolving around that. And I think that somebody from that committee could be added to benefit. But, yeah, finance is ready, and I think fiscal advisory, we both have people that have some expertise and are willing to join the committee.
How about, Madam Chair, as the liaison to the Duxbury Bay Commission, I speak with the chair to see if there's anybody.
Yeah.
I know there's an environmental person on that committee,
I
so.
mean, I think a case could be made for a number of committees and commissions, and you might ask, and if other people are interested too, that whether they just want to make send us a
report
letter.
Or a letter, or a
yeah,
recommendation, or whether they want to see on the
discuss it during one of their
committee.
meetings, I don't, or if they really want to be on the committee.
And Mr. Quigley recently gave us a very in-depth, comprehensive report on the Bay.
Was she funded?
Which, again, so that
He funded it.
information is out there about the biologic, or I don't know what we're saying, So, I do think that would be helpful, but I know that they've got a big charge. I don't want
And you're ready.
to push somebody into doing that. So
Yeah,
I think that's a good.
I'll have a chat. How
good
about that?
idea. Yeah.
I'll take a letter.
I'll have a chat.
So, but for right now, fiscal advisory, a member of fiscal advisory and a member of the finance committee, I think would be helpful. Again, I shared this with Betsy earlier. I'm hoping for people with, open minds that aren't entrenched in one direction or another, because I think we really still are in the information gathering part of this exercise. So
Yep.
that is what I would hope for.
So I move to add a member of the Fiscal Advisory Committee and the Finance Committee to the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee charge.
Second.
Discussion. Do you
So
have a question under
discussion would be that we amend the advisory committee charge to read as redlined in our packet,
Yeah.
which reads as follows. The Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee is an ad hoc committee comprised of, it will now read 7 members who are town of Duxbury residents, one of whom shall be a member of the Fiscal Advisory Committee, one of whom shall be a member of the Finance Committee, appointed by the Select Board. The term shall be 3 years.
Thank you. So I have a motion and I have a second, and under discussion, I had a hand from a member of the public. Do you wish to speak on this?
may change it. I just, after last week's meetings, I went back and read the bylaws, because I don't even know what people do, like different committees. I'm like, who does what, right? Like, I don't know. So I went back and read, but I believe that the finance committee members cannot sit on another committee, except for audit. I believe that came up. I'm not sure, because you did say ad hoc committee, so that might come into play. But
She's absolutely correct, but
Yeah.
I think that we are often asked to audit committees and to offer the financial perspective when they have that kind of an impact, and this is a huge financial impact to the town.
We did it with the override committee as well.
So with the override committee, we don't, you are absolutely correct, but
Good catch.
Thank you for
I
reading our
certainly would
bylaws.
not want to,
I already thought, I already thought of it.
well, I certainly don't want to step out of bounds with, you know,
But this is so important.
I agree, but if our bylaws says,
They just,
so they're non-voting, so
No,
does-
they're non-voting, they're non-voting.
No, they're non-voting. They're just there, they're
They're-
there to offer their expertise.
They're advisory to the advisory.
If anybody can sit in on a meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mr. Brogner, did you have something you wanted to say, sir? Okay, we have motion and a second. Further discussion on this motion. I'm sorry, if you have a question, you got to get up to the microphone. Sorry, Sue.
You know, I like to sit as far away as possible.
Sue Schofield. So what committees, who can get appointed to the PowerPoint Advisory Council then?
Well, it's any other committee, we can form a
Just
committee.
FinCom
It's
is
Finance
excluded?
committee has some limitations that other boards and committees don't have, that are exclusive to the Finance committee. And you are absolutely right, I had forgotten that, but you're saying in this particular instance, because it's an advisory role.
There's no vote that they're gonna
and it's-
take that compels us to do anything.
True.
Mike can
Yes,
tell us,
correct.
though.
Okay,
So there is no vote that will be taken, and, you know, if you're really concerned about it, ask town council.
I will.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
We'll make sure it's okay, but we think that we're on safe
Yeah.
ground
I
here.
believe so. We're
Thoughts,
asked
Brian?
to send
You good with
people
that?
all the time we have liaisons to the school committee.
That's right.
We have liaisons to every department.
Yes.
And committee as for as long as I know.
Yeah.
Liaison is different than a member, though.
Right.
Yeah, we're liaison, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
let's,
not-
We're liaisons to other boards and committees, but we're not members of them.
Right, and that's what this
We have
would
to
be.
withdraw it, we can.
Oh, so this isn't adding a member, the vote that
I
we're
don't know
taking is
how you're
adding a
gonna
member.
couch it and what your terms of it, but we were looking at this as the same as we do in every other committee. We have liaisons that go
Okay.
talk to school committee, we have them talk
the
to planning
difference.
board, every other
Yeah.
department.
All right, then.
not-
How about,
We're gonna table
instead of a member, how about we add the fiscal advisory and the finance committee liaisons to the Point Bridge Advisory Committee?
I would
Would
never.
that be okay?
And Bay Management is. not-
I would never,
just-
I don't know.
What, no,
So
wait,
as liaisons, they couldn't.
Let Mike speak.
No,
Yeah, Mike.
Mike?
I think
Mike?
we should talk to council about this because I don't think I don't think we should be just deciding this off the cuff.
Okay,
That's fine.
yep,
table
sounds
it.
good.
Just let me know and I'll let.
Yeah.
let the people
But,
know.
but I think it's important, at the end of the day, we need to find a mechanism by which fiscal advisory and a finance committee can bring their expertise to bear and provide us, the community, with answers, financial answers.
I agree.
Okay.
Are the same limitations on the fiscal advisory as on the finance committee
Probably.
when it comes to this?
I'll find out.
We'll
Okay.
find out.
All right, so we'll.
Thank you for
we'll
reading the bylaws.
figure it out. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to table that discussion to a later date.
Yeah. But we're in agreement that it needs to happen somehow. We need to find a way.
Okay, we have the town manager's report.
Thank you. I have just one thing, and it's about Miramar.
Thought we weren't discussing. Oh, no, no.
We're not. You're gonna see. Questions for anybody in the audience? Or anybody in the audience? So, what I'm doing is providing excuse me, I was contacted by a lady named Evelyn Millardo asking if I would just bring up a series of questions. They do not need to be answered, but they're just questions that she would like to have considered by the board or whatever working group we put together about Miramar. She was going to come here, and I said, you have the choice. You can do it under open forum, or I can simply present them under my town manager's report, and I told her I would. So here they are. Duxbury residents have voiced concern with the Miramar sale and as yet undisclosed plans of the developer. Different audiences have questions about different parts of how a development at Miramar will impact them, the town and the town's future, and support resources. The following represents a set of questions organized to reflect concerns most talked about at this time. Number one, what is the town's actual authority for zoning and environmental realities at Miramar? Number two, what legal and regulatory issues in Duxbury tell us why 40B cannot be used at Miramar? Number three, what is the town's official statement on 40B and what eligibility requirements? Number four, since the town is under 10%, could Miramar be used to address the SHI, the subsidized housing inventory? Number five, if Bay Road is zoned as a flood hazard area, explain Miramar flood and access zone compliance. Number six, explain the density cap due to nitrogen limits at Miramar. Number seven, can the state reject the Miramar as a 40B site because of environmental unsuitability? Number eight, what engineering constraints make the Miramar site unsuitable under 40B? Number nine, why can't the select board in town publicly just say no and clarify that 40B is not feasible? Number 10, will the state force Duxbury to build affordable housing because of past commitments? Number 11, is there 100% agreement from the town that environmental constraints make Miramar a non-starter? Number 12, is the town prepared to present clarity to the residents with reports on a statement of good faith planning efforts, a formal environmental suitability report, a map-based report of constraints, including Wetlands Act, flood hazard zones, aquifer protection district, nitrogen-impaired watershed, stormwater and coastal zones, and finally, a clear explanation of why or why not the Miramar development plans need Duxbury's town leaders, legal and environmental authorities to forcibly defend any proposed build on the site at this time. As I had said I would, I delivered that message to the board, and now you have it. I'm not expecting you to respond, just wanted you to be aware that the questions had come in. And that's my report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, if I may. So, Rainey, there are concerns in the community that the town is not keeping up with what's going on Miramar. It isn't asking enough questions. It is kind of asleep at the switch, and I know that's not the case. Can you explain a little bit about what the town is doing, just to clarify what we know and what the town's doing about it, and frankly, the limitations of our power in the case of private property rights?
The most important thing is we don't have an application in any office yet. We haven't received any information from them officially. Everything has been unofficial communication as to what we're expecting. As I had mentioned in a previous meeting, they were contemplating 100 buildings and roughly up to 400 units. So we don't know yet the configuration or how any of it will be laid out. We've seen some information that was provided online with respect to what the development could look like. Again, nothing formal has been received. So that's why we're, at this point, simply intaking information that people may wish to provide to us. If they have questions, we're happy to field them, at least receive them, take them under advisement, and then there will be a point at some time in the future when these questions will be addressed. And it won't necessarily be addressed by the board, but they could be addressed by the zoning board. So we will see what comes up.
And the town has reached out to the owner?
Oh, yeah. I've had a conversation, I've had a conversation with the attorney representing the owner. And he's advised me that they would be filing and trying to file their application by the end of this month. August. Yes.
So the first trigger that this board and the town receives is a notice through the project eligibility letter that the applicant has to file. That is our notice that is, and we have not received that yet. The only information that we have that we know about is the applicant's request and application to the town of Kingston for sewer capacity. And they have, that's public meetings, people can watch it. That gives you an insight as to what this developer is seeking. But we don't know, we haven't received anything.
Right. I gave the
we
board
have-
everything I had at your last meeting, which
So-
was links to everything you're talking about, Amy. Yep.
You know, I've been in the trenches of Chapter 40B
Well, how many years, Amy?
way too many.
More than 2.
You know, I encourage everybody to read about the statute. It is incredibly frustrating. It undermines local zoning. It is punitive. It is divisive. It is very difficult. I testified before the governor's task force on behalf of more than 250 towns in the Commonwealth about this back in, I don't know, 1990 something. And it's only gotten worse. So what the town needs to know is that this board is going to do everything within our power to protect the town and the residents to the best of our ability. We know this is coming. We haven't received notice yet, but we are taking steps to be prepared and to be as ready as we possibly can when the trigger, you know, when we get notice. So these questions, you know, are, you know, I'm glad people are thinking about this and they're concerned and they're engaged, and they should be. But, you know, these things will all be answered in time, as you said, probably not by us and not in contemplation of different things, but as we work through the process, questions will be answered. And it will be very frustrating for people because the zoning bylaws that we work hard to create, that the town votes in by 2/3 vote, will be completely bypassed by this process. And if you have a problem with it, it's not because your local board members are not doing their job or not on the same page as you. It is because the state has allowed this to continue. And until that is overturned, we're stuck with it. So we'll do the best we can. That's all we can do.
To your point, the reason we know what we know isn't because they reached out to us. We had
We did
to
not.
find out from them.
Correct.
Well, if I can just put, you're right on what you said, Amy, but just to clarify, I don't think anybody here at this table is suggesting that we wave a white flag and say it's whatever 40B says and that's the end.
Oh, no.
I think there's an opportunity for us to engage with the owner to attempt to shape something that is beneficial in at least some way to the town. We hear over and over about the need for housing for seniors. There's need for lower income. There's all sorts of needs that have been identified, not only through the comprehensive plan that I pretty much carry around with me, but in the housing study that the town took. So we know there's a need for housing of different types, and I think rather than throw up our arms and say, well, 40B is going to do what it wants, I'm not ready to go there yet. I think there's an opportunity, and this is why I asked Rainey that we've been in touch with the owner, to at least open the door to dialogue, because I think the worst case scenario is exactly what you described, which is a 40B that gets pushed down on us and that we're reactionary. I don't think we need to be reactive. I'd like to be proactive to the extent possible. It all depends on the property owner. We have property rights in this country, and you can do what you want within zoning. But to the extent that this is going to be a major development in more than one way in the town, this is a rare opportunity, I think, for us to get in front of it and try to engage to the extent possible with the owner in an effort to limit adverse impact and in every conceivable way attempt to fulfill some of the needs that the town has identified for housing.
Are you suggesting a local initiative project in partner? And again, I think these are premature because we just simply don't know. And this isn't on the agenda, so I think we have to be careful.
Just to clarify, right? Just to clarify, 40B, yes, is very strong, but we do that anyway, Brian, right? I mean, once we know what's coming up, then we have that I remember doing that for quite a few 40Bs. We've been, there's one that.
Yes,
There's
yes.
there's one.
Several
There's
of
been
them that
several
we
of
have
them.
taken the initiative.
We've taken
And
initiative,
that's a
so
part-
we will, as part of the process, this
We're
town.
not there yet.
Exactly. When we're there, we're going to be all over it to do exactly what you said, Brian. So, your point is clear about the power of 40B, but also the power of the town to try and influence the outcome, right, as best as we can.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's
the
the goal.
whole goal, is
Yep.
to make this the best project, least impactful, what we want.
That we can
That
achieve.
will be the
Right.
goal.
Yep. So I think we're all aligned about, this board is aligned to achieve that objective.
That was
Yep.
my report.
Thank you.
May I ask a question? Bettina Sir, St. George Street. Speaking of forward-thinking, Brian, that you were just speaking of, how did we get here? I mean, I'm wondering, since we all knew that this property was going to be for sale, why didn't our town buy it? How did it fall in these people's hands? We know we need senior housing, we know we need housing for our residents, a lot who can't or having a hard time affording the town at this point. Why didn't we buy it? We're building $100 million school and lots of other things. How couldn't we have acquired this? How did we get here? I don't know. I was just wondering if you could clarify
Again,
that for me.
it's not, this isn't on the agenda, how we got here. I mean, this came about at a time where, you know, we were struggling with needing an operational override to operate the town. I mean, coming up with I don't know what it sold for, $8.5 million. And to develop it, and the town has never been in the position of development, other than the Affordable Housing Trust will often buy parcels to develop for affordable housing. I'm not sure that this is was the poster child for that parcel, but I think it's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'm a big advocate for open space, keeping the CPA alive and funded so that when parcels come up, we have a good, and again, this came up for sale at a time when our CPA had been reduced down to 1% and was just getting back up to the 3. So I think there was a lot of factors, and again, in the Monday morning quarterback, we're all great at that, and believe me, I don't, unfortunately.
Yep.
And I actually asked that question of Nancy Ruffo, and she had told me that there was absolutely no way the CPC could have gone before town meeting asking to borrow to purchase Miramar during the 2 contentious override years, so it would have never happened. And borrowing would have been necessary because they were at 1% for so long they didn't have the money.
Yeah.
Right.
It really came down to that. We did not have the money to do it.
I think we are veering the agenda.
I did have one
Yeah,
more thing
we
for
are.
my,
Okay.
I had one more thing for my
Susan,
report.
is this, we're off the agenda, and I'm hearing so.
I need to speak, okay? I need to speak.
Is this about Miramar?
This is about what your statement was, that we have rules and regs and zoning bylaws in place, and even when you meet all that criterion and add in an accepted road from 1812, you can still wait for a year to find out that you're going to get jerked around, okay? And then what ends up happening is we end up with 40Bs, okay? All right?
So is that a threat?
No, it's not a threat. It's not a
Is that
threat.
a
I'm
threat,
stating
Susan?
to you
Let's not
that we
get-
have
let's move
rules
on.
and regulations and zoning bylaws in place.
hear what you're
And
saying.
you have to wait all that time. What do you think people automatically do? They automatically go to 40B. That's why we have 40Bs. Fernando.
Yeah, I know. I hear it.
The last
Randy.
thing from my report is seawall betterment bills will be mailed August 24th.
Okay, thank you.
Just so you know.
Okay, I've got some one-day liquor and wine. I need some liquor and wine. And
Okay. I move that Miss Susan Uti be granted a one-day wine and malt license for the croquet fundraiser on August 29th, 2026, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., located at King Caesar House in Bumpus Park, 120 King Caesar Road, contingent upon the conditions of the license.
Second.
Discussion.
I think this is, we've voted for this before. This is not a new event, as I recall.
I don't think
No.
so, I remember
Yeah.
this. Any discussion? Cindy, anything? All
None from me.
right, so I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Cindy? Thank you. Next is an annual trunk or treat.
Yeah, so I move that Mr. Michael Staples, as representative of St. George Street, St. George Street, St. Garage, be granted permission to utilize the roadway of 262-266 St. George Street for their second annual trunk or treat event as described in the application on Sunday, October 18, 2026, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. contingent upon the conditions of the permit. I'm not sure I understand this.
Is there alcohol?
No.
What do you don't understand?
But what it says, Is it gonna be on the-
St.
is
George
it-
Street Garage, right?
but it's going to use the roadway. What does it mean, the road, or that's the bit I don't understand.
Yeah, they're just doing the trick-or-treating in the road, but it's from St. George Street Garage, it's running it. They did it last year and it worked out fine. None of the fire, police, nobody had any issues.
Okay, so
It's
they're
in,
not
it's in the
actually-
parking lot, though, isn't
Is
it?
It's in the parking lot,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is in the parking lot.
It's in the parking lot. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So it would mean whatever they wrote in the.
okay. If they would have said the parkway, the parking lot, that
Yeah.
would have been when it said road. I
It does
thought
say roadway.
it does say roadway. I
Oh.
thought there'd be doing the trick and
Yeah.
treat on the freaking road.
Maybe we amend it to parking lot.
So anyway, it's on the parking lot. Can I amend it then?
Yes, please do.
I move that Mr. Michael Staples, as representative of St. George St. Garage, be granted permission to utilize the parking lot
Yeah.
of 260-266 St. George Street for their second annual trunk or treat event as described in the application on Sunday, October 18th, 2026, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. contingent upon the conditions of the permit.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Cindy? Thank you.
It's too early to be doing trunk or treat. It's not even Labor Day yet.
Committee appointments.
I move that the Duxbury Select Board appoint to the Registrar of Voters the following
Done with all this?
members. Mary Pat Dodge, Democrat seat, for term ending 03/31/2028, and Peter Scott, the Republican seat, appointment for term ending 3/31/2029.
Second.
Discussion?
I just had a
all those in
question.
favor?
Uh,
A question, yeah?
Yeah, I remember seeing the vacancy for the Republican seat. Was the Democrat seat recently vacated? I don't recall seeing a termination for that, a resignation.
That came from the town clerk. I thought there was only a Republican seat,
Yeah.
but she said that she would check on that, and that's what she sent me. But it's kind of different because they get reappointed at the end of March.
Okay.
So I mean, I just took her word for it. I mean, I can follow up with her, but
No,
she
that's-
said she was gonna check.
Okay,
Thank you.
great, thanks.
Okay, let's
So,
vote.
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Okay, the following boards of committee have available seats. Council on Aging has 2 seats, 1 alternate. Fiscal Advisory Committee, 1 seat. Design Review Board, 1 alternate. Side and Bike Path Committee, 4 seats. Open Space Committee, 1 seat. Livable Duxbury Task Force, 2 seats. And finally, the D&I Steering Committee has multiple seats. Actually, that's not quite, we're fully booked.
Oh,
So we're good. And I'll get the names to you.
Oh, was the
Yeah,
new ones?
for the new
Okay.
ones available, yeah. So if anybody is interested in volunteering on a board or committee, you're encouraged to fill out a talent bank form, which can be found on the town's website under the Forms and Documents tab.
all right.
Okay, next thing is minutes.
We do have some minutes.
Yes.
Just
We have-
from July 6th.
Yeah, July 6th. I move that Select Board approves the draft minutes from the open session meeting of July 6, 2026.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye. Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Okay, and what's next?
Some
Oh,
announcements.
announcements. The next scheduled Select Board meeting will be Monday, August 31st, 2025 at 6:30 PM in the Mural Room.
Okay,
Great.
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in
favor?
Aye, Fernando, aye. We're all done.
Aye.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
See you, Cindy.
10:03.
Feel better.
Thank you.